Welcome everyone to the next episode of the ACR Game Plan, and I think we're up to something like episode number 5 now. And we've got some very special guests today. Welcome, Flo. How are you?
Hi, I'm fine. How about you?
I'm good, man. It's early morning here in New Zealand, and I know it's the end of the day there for you. And Frenzy fans, massive welcome to you guys. So good to have you on. Really appreciate you making your time zone work with our time zones, so we can align the calendars. How are you guys?
Doing well. Thanks so much for having us on. We've been excited to be on one of your guys' ACR episodes here. This is going to be fun.
Yeah, we're a little displaced. So right now we're in my sister's guest bedroom. So ignore like the headboard. It's not our normal thing, but we're happy to be here.
I see your cameras wobbling a little bit, so I'm not convinced that you're not on a cruise ship and just somehow have like perfect Wi-Fi. So yeah. Geez, I mean, you'd be pretty sick if that was the boat you're on, but
right. Yeah.
We're in the ocean.
I literally have like an ottoman that the computer's sitting on, so it's pretty Jimmy rigged
on the bed.
The bed, yeah.
Yeah, life of you, the nomadic YouTubers, right?
Right, we'll figure it out eventually.
Well, guys, we are here in the ocean tour. So, you know, I love cruise ships. I've actually been on a cruise ship a couple of times myself. It's a lot of fun. You eat a lot of food. You probably gain a bit of weight, but it's also just really fun. So I hope everyone's enjoying the ocean tour as much as I am. Any fun times so far, guys?
Yeah.
Excellent. And if you can hear anything in the background, I think rain just started pouring really hard here in New Zealand. So we're not in the 43 degrees Celsius weather that they've got over in the States. We're, freezing cold in the first thing in the morning. Hey, so just as we start, I thought it would be cool to do a little bit of an icebreaker. And just firstly to hear a little bit about Frenzy fans, what is your Mario Kart Tour story? How did you find the game, and how did you get addicted to this game?
Yeah, so I think we're both pandemic players. I started playing kind of around the Easter like Yoshi tour of 2019. And I just tried it out for like a couple of days just by myself, and Frenzy Fangirl kind of heard like some weird noises coming from my phone, and she like looked over and she saw that I was playing Mario Kart Tour on the phone. She's like, "What?
Then I got mad.
You're playing Mario Kart on your phone without me?"
That was a pretty jerk move. Yeah.
And so then she downloaded it and we started playing, and I started some little like spreadsheets on how to get like 100% coverage, because like when you're new to the game, it's always a bummer when you don't have like top shelf stuff. And then once we got 100% coverage on tracks, then we started kind of moving towards like doing really well on ranked. I started doing ACR, and then we started YouTube channel stuff, and not particularly in that order, but you know how it goes.
Yeah, it's a slippery slope.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. I remember when we're not like whales by any stretch of the imagination, but I remember when the game first started out, we're like, okay, it's a gotcha game. We're aware of this. Like, we're not going to spend any money on it. And then like a month in, it was like, should we get gold pass? Okay, this is like $5, $5 a month each. Like, is it worth it? And then now it's just like, hey, I'm gonna buy a pack. All right, like,
can I have one too?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, if you're buying one,
you have your budget. Just stay within it.
Well, Flo, you're the one that's holding strong as a gold pass only that doesn't even purchase any packs. So how is that going? 2 years later, you're staying strong?
I'm staying strong, but I can definitely relate to the first part of the story. Free to play, and then you were watching, gold pass. There's just a couple of tickets that I could use, and
Right.
if you want to get a little bit higher in the game, then gold pass is what you need probably. But anything more, that's up to you if you want to spend the money or not.
Absolutely.
So speaking of addiction and love of this game, just as a little bit of a further icebreaker, what do you guys find is the element of the game that you personally find keeps you coming back? So what's the drug that keeps you coming back? For me personally, just to share, I love this stuff, what we're doing right now, where we get together and we chat about like what you're going to invest into, And I don't know, there's something about filling out a spreadsheet. It sounds so silly to say, but you know, that feeling of like, oh yes, I can, you know, it's almost like a puzzle that you're figuring out. And I love that element of the game personally. What about you,
Yeah.
Frenzy Fangirl? Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, for me, I think it's more along, it's similar to that, but I love just how it essentially, like, every week and especially every 2 weeks, it's like a brand new game, right? So your inventory is always evolving. Random courses are being released, which you could be like top of the game one week and like bottom of the chain the next one. And so having that mixed with like the strategy and the community and problem solving a lot. Like I love strategy games. Like before we were doing Mario Kart Tour, like Ticket to Ride. I don't know if you guys have ever played that game, like from a board game standpoint.
Yeah.
It's such a fun game because like you actually have to like think about, okay, here are my resources. This is what I need to accomplish. Like nobody knows my hand, but like what am I going to pull off? And like what's the risk analysis of like taking these certain routes? And it's a really fun game. Check it out. But like I feel like this is like, it's way more involved than that. This is like the video game version of like that strategy element of games that I love. So that's why I like it.
Awesome. What about you, Frenzy Fanboy?
Yeah, I was, since you didn't say it, I'm going to go ahead and take it.
Okay.
But I know that you're a big entrepreneur, and there's an entrepreneurial, I guess, like kind of flavor to the game where you invest certain resources into certain things and then it's accumulative, right? And so like as you invest in certain things for ranked in 1 week, you know, you hope that the next weeks you get more benefit out of that investment, and you get new resources and there are new items to invest in. And so it's always this balancing act, just like in real business, of, you know, how much money do you spend? What are the things that you focus on? And you hope that the things that you you know, spend in
and
the
by
game.
money, we mean resources like tickets
Oh,
and
yeah,
rubies.
like rubies
and
and stuff. Right. But then how that you hope that it influences like the future of the game. And so I think one of the things that I get the most kick out of, especially lately, is when the Wonderful Wings first came out.
Yeah.
In the Sky Tour, it didn't give me any good coverage at all. Like I think all but one of its courses I had like level 7 like gliders in, and then the next tour I needed it for ranked, but I needed to take it to level 8 and I was super nervous about it.
I was watching a stream that day.
I did it. I took it to level 8. I spent 20 tickets on it, and then little did I know, but it's like the most used item in the game in ranked since the Sky Tour, like hands down. It's just been like the most phenomenal investment ever, and I just get a kick out of it. I think it's so fun that, you know, I spent a lot of resources early and I've gotten so much return on the investment over the weeks. So.
And you win some and you lose some. I invested heavily into the coconut one. It's all right, you know.
It will get better.
But it's very cute. So
yeah, and I think, you know, it's a much healthier way of gambling than gambling.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Awesome. And what about you, Flo? What do you love about this game?
Yeah, basically also this optimization problem that we have already talked about. So what to do with the resources, which items to invest in. That's also why I then decided to develop a tool, take a time, and see how to optimize it. And then of course there are different ways to play the game. You can either optimize it for rank purposes or for ACR or for your favorite drivers, karts, gliders, maybe a combination of both. I really like to also talk a lot with other people in OG server or wherever to give some recommendations or hear their thoughts on my inventory.
Yeah, and we've got exciting updates coming about Tick Time, so stay tuned for that. Let's get into the episode, guys. Really cool to hear those stories, and we've got a lot to cover, so let's get into it. So just a quick overview. Here's what we're going to be talking about today. I'm really especially excited today to take a special look using the Ticket Time algorithm at Frenzy Fangirl and Frenzy Fanboy's inventories. They've opened the lid, they've popped the lid for us. You know, we've got to look under the hood, and we're gonna hopefully make some recommendations that can help them. I know that sometimes there's so many options in this game that we need input from other people so that we can, you know, support each other in the decisions that we make. And at the end of the day, while there are better and worse decisions, there is no wrong and right when it comes to your inventory. So really keen to look at those things together, and hopefully it can be really helpful to Frenzy fans, but also to you guys watching. Hopefully it gives you an insight on what you need to look at to make sure you're considering the right things with your upgrades. There's lots of other bits we're going to get into, so let's get stuck in. So Flo, 111th place in the Piranha Plant Tour. Man, you almost got a second top 100. What happened there?
Yeah, that was, I already told it before, so that was by accident. I didn't plan to go that high, but as you can see, there are two investments that I made. So I pulled for PD Piranha because I really like him and also the boomerang. So that's a combination I couldn't ignore. And then, as you noticed, we discussed it in the last episode with John Boy, that the Lightning Streamliner is just really good for my account. And you guys convinced me that I should at least do a YOLO. And then in the end, I decided, okay, I will just go for it no matter what. I had a 93% chance that I will get it. So, and luckily it wasn't the first 3 channels. So yeah, it was the only high end, but at least it was the only high end I wanted from that pipe. So that was completely fine for me. And yeah, I directly put it to level 6, and then I just grinded a few of the tracks and noticed, okay, it's getting higher and higher with the score. And I was even at position 100 just one day before the final results. But I also noticed at that point that I had to regrind like 10 or even more tracks on the final day. So that was impossible. But so I'm completely fine with that placement, and yeah, leave the PD top 100 badge to other people that really wanted it.
Well, congratulations, man. And that's really lucky you got it in the first 3 tenors.
Yeah.
Hopefully it
Absolutely.
can be really good for your account going forward, and we'll take a little bit of look at the Lightning Streamliner as we go through. In terms of my results, I landed in 230th place. It wasn't as tough a grind for me. I wasn't really grinding that hard this tour. But what was funny is I started out very relaxed grind, leaving 10k on every track, and then as the tour went on, I got more and more competitive, and then realized I needed to go back and race all the tracks again, because you know, so it's just so addictive once you get started grinding ACR. And so anyway, I had a fun tour, and I'm definitely taking a break this tour. I know I've said this for like the last 4 tours straight, but I'm actually gonna not grind ACR at all this tour, apart from, you know, collecting all the challenges and having some fun. All right, and I wanted to put this up here. So I had a little bit of fun with my grind, trying something a little bit different. So on the first slide that you saw was DKR's ACR spreadsheet. However, as we have Frenzy fans here, I really wanted to give a really good go to using their All Cup ranking calculator, which is part of their Frenzy fans calculator, which we're going to talk about a little bit in a minute. But this here is the spreadsheet, or the way that, and on the left you can see the image that shows a summary of how the All Cup ranking kind of how I was tracking for All Cup ranking. I didn't do it perfectly. I didn't track every single course, so that might kind of fudge the numbers a little bit. But I thought this was really insightful. So maybe Frenzy fans, if you want to just have a quick chat and explain what we're kind of looking at there with the All Cup ranking results on the left.
Yeah, so the way that my tool works, or the Frenzy Fan Calculator ACR works, is it's a little bit more dynamic. It takes into account your skill level, like as you're playing the different tracks. It essentially, what it does is it averages all of the levels and base points of all of your drivers, all of your karts, all of your drivers, and then averages your performance on all 36 tracks. And it pretty much calculates the whole tour as like one race, right? And so the math behind it is a little tricky, and The thing is it gets more accurate the more courses that you fill in. So I noticed over here on the left-hand side, you have your projected score of like 1.4 million, and then right underneath it says your actual recorded score was like 1.36-ish. So usually when I've used it, those numbers are a little bit closer to each other, but then I noticed over on the right-hand side that you have, I don't know, maybe like a half dozen or so courses where you didn't fill out like your actions and your bonus points per action. And maybe it was because like those were races that you didn't like really focus on or what have you. And so if you had put in like those actions and bonus points per action, then your projected score, I believe, would have come down closer to your 1.36. It's just the values aren't in the calculator right here, and so it's only doing as good as you know, like the information that you put into it. So I've used it several times and have, you know, a couple of Frenzy Fan episodes where we talk about how the projected score and your actual score actually end up converging at the very end of the tour to within like 1% of each other. So it's different than the DKR, in that DKR kind of tells you the max action counts that you can possibly get for every race. And like that's kind of the bar that is set. And so you're always trying to get, you know, like 100% or 90%, whatever of that. This is more or less, it's a tool that helps you with your current loadouts and then your current performance, like your current skill level. It lets you know what the average actions that you would need, and you know, like for an ACR 1000 or ACR 100 badge, and where your actual average actions are. So
I love it when I go for ACR. I've only gone for ACR a couple times, but I love it when I do it because it forces me to like actually track my like ranks. So I'm not, or not my ranks, but my races. So then like, as I'm going through it, if I see like, oh, I'm like a certain amount of like bonus action shy, I can actually see like how I've performed on every race and figure out like where the holes are. Like, oh, there's so much more potential on this one. I'm going to do this one instead of focusing on this one where there's just like a 2% increase. You actually can focus on the ones that matter.
Yeah, I really.
and the other
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, go for it. You're good.
So I was just going to say the other thing that I really like is at the bottom. I think I'm more proud that I was able to figure out how to make the algorithm work.
Yeah.
But based on your loadouts that you put in here, it tells you how many times, it gives you a ranking list of how many times you're using particular items. And so if you do, you know, if you're thinking that you need to make investments, this is a way to be able to tell like what you've already invested in. If you were to take these particular items to the next level, these are going to give you the most courses, like the most bang for your buck for this particular tour, for the amount of courses that your items have. So
yeah, that's super useful. I really like that addition. Nice job on the formulas. And just while we're here, I also really liked one thing it got me doing, and I know I was chatting with you Frenzy fans in the server at one point because I was doing it wrong. But the bonus points, which is I think it's out of the 3 different scores you get at the end of the race, I think it might be is it the second one or the third one?
yeah, so there are 4 numbers that it gives you at the end of the race. The first one is just your placement points. So if you get first place based on your experience level, if you get a certain amount of points. And then the second one is your bonus points. And then the third is something
bonus
else. And then the
boost.
last one
Yeah.
is bonus points boost. So anyway, the one thing that makes the calculator really work, and we probably go into it a little bit more in the ranked one, is you have to kind of know how many bonus points that you're getting per action throughout the race. And so all it is just a simple equation. You just take the amount of bonus points that you get in that second number and then divide it by the number of actions that you have, and voila, you have your bonus points per action.
And what it got me doing, looking at this more, I haven't really looked at this so much more. It actually kind of gave me more insight into what my skill level is like, because I know we kind of put like almost like a 58 bonus points per action is like a generic kind of thing as a starting point. And you can see here, mine averaged out to be about 62.8. So that, you know, if I keep using the calculator, then I can look at how I'm improving on my average, you know, average bonus points per action. And also I really liked the looking at the bonus points, that number. I've never really paid attention when the race finishes, but that number there to me tells me how effective I was at getting actions that were worth points in the race, if that makes sense. So even if you have a race with no frenzies, which, you know, is an average race, you might get two races, one with no frenzies, but it's really average, poor lines, you drop combo all over the place. And then you might do a race where you actually nail your lines and everything, but still no frenzies. But then you can actually, it might be 2,000 points difference. And that there shows you how much better you raced the second time. And so looking at those numbers was really insightful for me, I found.
Yeah, it's also really cool too, like when you're looking at them, sometimes it obviously depends on like the character or the drivers that you're using, but sometimes a level 5 like coin box driver will be more beneficial to you than like a level 7 mushroom driver or something like that, just because you're getting those extra points and you're expected to get more points with coin box in the special seals. So it's fun just kind of playing that out and being like, oh snap, if I invest in this one instead of this one, even though this one initially makes me feel like, oh, that would be the best way to go. Data's king, so it helps.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, so no, it was really insightful, guys. Really enjoy it. So we'll get a little bit more into the calculator a little bit later on. But this is just a highlight. We want to highlight everything that you guys are doing, and firstly say thank you for what you guys do in the community, because it's really amazing. I know personally I found I think it was a random Reddit post that you did, and you know, people don't like people self-promoting in Reddit, so I don't think it got great engagement. And I don't know if you guys still post in Reddit, but I just wanted to say thank you for doing that particular post in Reddit of one of your videos, because that was how I discovered your channel, and probably went back and watched every single video you uploaded. And, you know, I was in that phase of the game where I'd been playing maybe like 8 months, and I was trying to, you know, just hunting down every single resource I could possibly find to, you know, maximize all my opportunities. So you guys have a channel. You can see some of the video types that they do here. They've got a Discord community. And you know, there's lots of awesome stuff that you guys do. Did you want to give a quick overview or talk about kind of an overview of what you guys do?
Sure. Yeah. So I think when we first started our Discord, okay, so let's go back to the beginning.
History lesson.
So I think the whole reason why we started the YouTube channel was because I had made a calculator to help me project or predict what my scores could be based on my current loadouts for ranked. And after 5 or 6 tours of using this ranked calculator and like seeing how robust it was, I was like, this is something that I'm sure the community would love, but it's a little bit tricky. Like, it's kind of hard to explain how to do everything just in like a tutorial.
Not everybody loves spreadsheets.
Right. And so I sat down with Frenzy Fangirl before I ever started calling her Frenzy Fangirl. And I was like, what if we were to do like a YouTube channel or something where we were able to show the calculator and show the app, and like every week we'd be able to come up with a new episode, because things are always changing every week, and we'd be able to show how to use the calculator. And so that's kind of how that was born. So we started the YouTube channel, and then I met Alex Young via Reddit and became real good buddies with him. He was the guy that kind of first started the ACR Projections. And then we got together and decided to kind of, the 3 of us put together this Discord community where there's a place where like one centralized location where people could come for ranked help and ACR help. And then that just kind of blossomed. You know, we had a lot of amazing people in the server. John Boy, he's got his drift school. He's always placing like top 30, maybe 25 every single tour. Super talented, very, very talented driver, and so we made a drift school channel for him.
I call him Mr. Miyagi.
Mr.
He'll come in and
Miyagi.
teach us his lines, and
So you can request a track that if you're struggling on, he can show you how to better improve your lines. Then the ACR fan roll. So, you know, if you're interested in ACR stuff, you can get all the pings for ACR. Then who doesn't like pipe pulling stuff, right? We're like, how do we get more pipe pulling without actually like having us pulling the pipes? So we're like, let's open it up to the community and have pipe pulling parties with people. So
it's an emotional roller coaster.
Yeah.
We scream, we laugh, we cry.
But
we try not to cuss, but you know.
We all do it together, and that's the most important thing. So
that PD pipe was rough on you, Frenzy Fangirl. R.I.P. your rubies.
It was in the bottom too. I was like, oh my gosh.
That was rough.
PD was playing hard to get, but I had several PD pity parties since then, and my soul has been rejuvenated. So.
And I think our most recent series is the MVI, the most valuable items, where we put out a survey every single week and give it to the community, where the community votes for or responds as to what items that they're actually using in ranked. And so we're starting to get this nice little database, even though it's a small sample size. I think that it does a fairly good representation of what items are being used. I'm also taking a look just at what Mario is doing as far as how often certain items are rostered. So trying to kind of put all that information together in those videos for people that are really interested in ranked.
Intern 4's real name is Mario.
Yeah. I always call Nintendo Mario, so it's a thing now.
It's a thing, yeah. Don't worry, I know all the memes. I'm sure people watching know too. So what have we got here?
Yeah, so this is kind of a new addition. What we've been thinking of doing here for a little bit is making the ACR, or actually just the calculator in and of itself. So the calculator has ranked calculators, ACR, pipe pulling stuff, and a little calculator for the me. So that there's a lot of calculators that go into this one kind of file that I keep up to date every tour. Traditionally, we've had it just on the Frenzy Fan server. So you have to become a Discord. You got to get on Discord and you got to join the Frenzy Fan server.
And the main intention behind that originally was just like, we were getting pinged in so many different areas that were like, let's just centralize it, have one place where everybody can come to and hang out. But the calculator, the word's gotten out on it and people are using it a lot. So
we've been hearing some feedback that not everybody is in Discord.
Totally. Which
but would appreciate the opportunity to be able to use the calculator. So we've updated our website to be able to access the calculator every tour. So I update it usually like the first day. Usually it's the first day. Sometimes if we're like moving 2,000 miles across the country, it takes like 2 days to get to it, but that shouldn't happen very often. So anyway, the first day of the tour, I update the calculator, and now you should be able to find it on frenzyfans.com/calculator. Yeah,
so if you go to frenzyfans.com, you can access like our YouTube channel, you can access the MVI surveys, and now there's the calculator there. And our only disclaimer once again with it is we want it to be available to everyone. So whether you guys are on, like, if you guys are Facebook users, and I know there's a lot of really great communities all over, not everybody's on Discord. So now everybody can have access to it. But as far as just like support from our end, as far as like tech support or like coaching you through it, you guys can either watch our strat chats where we go over it a lot, or if you do want to join in Discord, that's kind of where we answer a lot of the questions. But we're trying to make some tutorials and stuff to make it pretty self-explanatory. So
it's really cool, guys. And what we'll do is we'll put a link just up here to frenzyfans.com, so you can go and access this page and go check out the site. I'm not too sure quite when that is. Is that live now? Or
it is. It's not the prettiest right this second, but go for it.
It's always a work in progress.
I made this page in like 2 minutes, so it is what it is.
Awesome. And that video there that we're showing, is that the best place to start with a video of diving into the calculator in depth, would you say?
Yeah, and this one we use. StudFit's huge in the community. This was us walking him through the calculator. We'll make some updated tutorials now that it's kind of just like out in the world where it's like super succinct and everything, and we'll have more tutorials on here, but that's a good place to just kind of, it's more long form content. But you can get the gist of that. And then if you scroll down on the page a little bit, there's an actual just a tutorial about how to download the document and like make your own copy and that type of stuff.
Awesome. All right. Well, guys, make sure you check out the link up here. Otherwise, yeah, check out frenzyfans.com. And let's dive a little bit further into this calculator. So what I've done here on the slide is just put in my loadouts for my ranked this week. I don't have the greatest loadouts this week, but you know, and I've only put I think the first course. So what you see here, the first image on the left is the instructions of how to use the calculator. And then the second image is the first course of the ranked cup where I've input my loadout. So you can see I've entered my my player level 206 there. I've selected 145 actions because I think I'm using Daisy, non-Daisy tie dress, just super Daisy there. And then I've left the bonus points per action as is. I could change that, but it's fine. And then I've entered my loadouts there. So level 7 765 Daisy, and then a level 4 490 high end Kart, a level 6 595 glider, and then what it does is it gives me that score of 29,985, which is my predicted score. And I haven't done much racing yet, so 17k is very poor. So do you guys want to explain like what I'm looking for and how to kind of use this as I go through ranked?
Yeah, so in this middle screenshot, this is for one of the 3 courses. And then the screenshot that you have just to the right of it, it's the race score predictor with all 3 of them. So the idea is you go through all 3 races and you fill out what your loadouts are going to be.
Before you ever invest tickets or like try to guess on like what you should do to get first or second or third or whatever your goal is.
Yeah, so down there in the lower right-hand corner, right underneath Daisy Cup, you got your total predicted score. So you see for yours, I think if you filled out your loadouts for all 3 courses, the calculator saying you can probably get around like 102,000. The idea is to then, you know, take a look at what your actual opponents, what their scores are. And so right now it looks like you've got 93,000, 90,000, and 86,000 currently.
Yep, that's right.
So if people weren't to, you know, play like a whole lot more or, you know, increase their scores over the weekend, which they always do, but you can kind of see like right now, you know, if you end up grinding, you can get probably around that 102, maybe 103, 104,000 without using any upgrades whatsoever. Now, if you were, you know, early in the tour and there was already someone that was like 105,000 and say you were really interested in getting first, you can use a calculator. You go back to your loadouts and you can take a look at particular items, hopefully ones that are used at least twice or 3 times maybe in ranked, and then you can change what the level is, you know, after you were to spend tickets, and then go back and see how many more points you'd be able to project getting, and if those investments are something that you're okay or, you know, comfortable with doing. So
yeah, I think when we first started playing, we had no idea what we were doing, so we're just like, I guess it would make sense to take this to level 6, or if I take this level 1 to level 4, I'll get that action bonus point boost or whatever. And so like it was a huge guessing game. So now, for example, kind of like what he was saying, you can actually see like, well, what if it, like if my super's at level 7, but it's like 14 or, you know, 3 out of whatever to the next level. Well, if I take that to level 8, will it actually get me the score that I need to take first? Because a lot of times I feel like I would, like before we had the calculator, I would like invest something into level 8 and I'll be like, okay, this is it. And I'd spend like 3 hours grinding. I'd finally get the run and realize it wasn't enough. And like, I don't get any more bang for my buck or my time. And then it'd be like, oh, okay, now what do I need to up level? This actually just gives you like a very accurate representation of what you have to do and if it's worth it for you time and investment wise.
Yeah.
I think it was like 2 weeks ago, I went through it and I was like, in order for me to go from 6th to 4th, or sorry, 6th to 3rd, I think it was, I had to invest like 18 tickets and which were all high end. And on top of that, like there was this huge gap between 3rd and 2nd. So if anyone bumped up at all, like I was just out of luck. And so it was a week where I was just like, well, thank goodness I didn't just take a couple things to level 6, hoping that would do it and still take 6th place or 5th place and, you know, not be worth it. So
yeah, it's such a good tool. And, you know, I think this is like, you don't want to go into ranked blind, like you're saying, Frenzy Fangirl. So I find this to be the tool that I use personally. If, when it comes to, I'm considering making an investment to win ranked, and actually what's that investment going to do? What I find interesting is, like, for example, I could look at this and go, oh, maybe I invest in Daisy tie dress, but actually how much additional scoring are we going to get? Say my top opponent's now 120,000, you know, am I actually going to get an extra 18 plus K out of taking her? And how many high-end tickets do I have to put into her? So for me, I'm more about overall coverage investments than ranked investments. So it's got to fit into that overall strategy. And this calculator helps me a lot with those decisions.
I think the other thing that too really helps out is if you do have, like, say, for example, in this week, you have a super that you probably have at a high level, but then you might have like Tie Daisy, but she might not be at as high of a level. The thing is with a coin box driver, you can anticipate getting anywhere from, you know, if you get the run, you know, 25, maybe 30 or 40 extra actions. And so you can use the calculator to calculate how many points you could project just with Daisy. And then even if you have Tie Daisy at a lower level, by increasing the actions by that 30 or 35 actions, you might see that you have a higher scoring potential with, you know, the one character versus the other, even though she might, the coin boxer might be at a lower level. So this really helps you kind of figure out, well, which one should I use? I see it so much on Reddit, and even in our server, people say, should I use this driver or this driver? It's like, well, there's a tool that'll tell you.
Calculator? If we had a penny every time we said, have you used the calculator?
right. It needs to just be a meme.
We need a GIF. Frenzy Fangirl,
Yeah.
get on that. It's just like, Frenzy Fanboy, have you used the calculator? Awesome. All right, we'll keep moving on, guys. But I love the calculator. I really, really think it's such an amazing tool. And just to also mention, there's a couple other things that the calculator does do, some other additions. On the left, I really love the special pipe calculator. It kind of takes the guessing out of, you know, hashtag beating the pipe, as Studfoot, I think, coined the phrase. But you can see, you know, this is a pretty simple calculator. I don't use the section down the bottom. I pretty much just use the two dark yellow cells towards the top. You know, you enter in what type of pipe it is, how many items is in the pipe, how many high ends is in the pipe, and then it gives you the percentage. So you get that right first, and then as you put in how many pipes you've pulled and how many high ends you've obtained, the calculator tells you whether you should reset or not. So if you're in a non-spotlight pipe, your goal isn't one particular item in 100 pipe or something like that, then this is a really cool tool to make sure that you don't do something dumb and waste your rupees, which we've all been there, right?
Yeah, sometimes it's hard to do the math like on the fly in your head, as far as like, well, am I below like the starting percentage of the pipe, or am I above the starting percentage of the pipe, and would it be beneficial to reset? So yeah, the calculator just kind of helps you do the heavy lifting for you.
In the Me Suit matching calculator, I think you spoke about that on an episode a wee while back. But the purpose of this is to kind of essentially compare those extra base points you get from leveled up Me's compared to a typical normal high-end driver. You know, how would that differentiate for scoring? So it's a great tool too. How do you use that on a regular basis?
Yeah, so if I were to ever slap any tickets on any of the me suits that I have. This was kind of designed for like it's kind of like a ranked calculator. So you see that there's like a cart and a glider. So if there's a particular race that you're racing and you have like a level 4 high-end cart that's like double slapped or what have you, you can put that in there. And then based on the number of me suits that you have, it'll, the section down here at the bottom, it'll show you if you were to have a non-me suit driver versus the me suit driver, how many points you could expect from a particular run. So, you know, you get the bonus points per action up there and action count. So the color coding is kind of there to show you that, like, say, for example, over on the very, very right there, if you were to have a triple uncapped level 6 me driver with 23 suits, you could expect to get around 58,000 points. So that'd be the equivalent of like a double capped like level 8 non-me suit driver. So, you know, having just a level 6 driver triple uncapped versus for a me suit level 8, which is a ton more tickets, it just kind of helps you figure out, you know, for a particular race or for a particular me suit, kind of what the equivalent of the non-me suit selection could get you. So anyway,
so all of these calculations weren't enough to convince you to invest into me yet.
no, because so it just
we
hasn't
don't have to go there.
yeah, it hasn't helped me out with my goals in the game yet. So
Yeah.
I'm not
Maybe.
anti-me suit by any stretch of the imagination. That's why I made the calculator, so that eventually it will come into play for me in my strategy. But for those that are taking it into account, hopefully this kind of helps out.
Awesome. All right. Well, we'll be taking a look at your inventory soon anyway, so we'll see if there's anything interesting in there, and we will take a look at the gold meat too as we go through. So, but before that, we have these new courses and we have this new tour. And Flo, take it away, man.
Yeah, sure. So we have 2 new courses. So this set is the Daisy Cruiser, the probably recurring one. So the buffs or the items that get those buffs are probably those that are more worth investing into. So we have most of all probably Thai Daisy getting 2 buffs on Daisy Cruiser and Daisy Cruiser R, which is huge, especially I think on the N version where there is no further plus skill driver. And then on the Daisy Cruiser R, we have a few other interesting buffs from the plus skill ones. There's the Bronze Me Suit and also Mario Samurai. And on the Daisy Cruiser T, it's interesting that we don't have Boomerang and also no coin box, but we have then a couple of options for Lucky 7 and Giant Banana. So Rosalina Chef is there, and then Daisy Holiday Cheer is still appearing on a new track again and again, Lucky to Party Time as well. And then, yeah, some interesting selections for carts and gliders. Jet Cruiser is interesting. We will also see that on our top 15 lists, getting both the N and the T version. So 2 times in ranked already. And then on the gliders, there's this new Firemancer glider, I think it's called, which covers all 3 tracks if you bring it to level 6, if I see it correctly, to unlock the N version.
Yeah, I find the Candlelight Flight a really interesting one, and we'll be taking a look at the Candlelight Flight today because it's getting to be a really interesting item to take a look at as well. There was a lot of winners, like oldies but goodies, that won this tour as well. You know, you can see Daisy Holiday Chair, as you mentioned, but then there's also like the 8-bit Super Mushroom, which I know Frenzy Fangirl, you must be so happy about. And then also the 8-bit Bullet Bill. So Frenzy Fanboy must be really happy about that one. So some real good wins in terms of those items this tour. And then we move on to Singapore. What do you find interesting in here?
Well, I have this nice combination, Vacation Luigi and the Lightning Streamliner on both the N and the R version, which is pretty nice. Apart from that, so we noticed that we have the coin box on the T version, which I heard of. It's not that good on the T track. It's in general not good on a T-track to go with Coinbox, but this particular track is also not made for Coinbox. So I didn't test it yet, but I've heard a lot of it. Still, they say 220 actions is possible. So Rosa Swimwear is the one who got the track. Interesting because she didn't get a lot of buffs recently. And as I mentioned already, the 2 and the 2R versions are both Vacation Luigi tracks, and some interesting selections only for gliders on the N version, but like Great Sail is spotlight boosted there, so most of us have that already and probably even on a high level. So yeah, some interesting selections there, probably a little bit hard to cover and also to justify some investments into that tracks, but yeah, we'll have a look at it.
Yeah, I think the real winners here are the, again, the 8-bit Fireflower. So all the 8-bits are getting the spotlight this tour, and then also Black Great Sail for those who already have that at a high level. That's pretty massive. I know the Platinum Taxi, Frenzy Fanboy, you and I both have that at a relatively high level. So that's it's like a freebie from Nintendo when they do that, right? So I'm always all about that, even if it's a city course. You're not going to spend any more tickets, but hey, there you go, you got some coverage. All right, and then let's get into the plus skill buffs. Take it away, Fly.
Yeah, so we have probably discussed most of the buffs already. So Ty Daisy, we already mentioned 2 Daisy Cruiser tracks, which is amazing for her. Vacation Luigi to Singapore Speedway tracks, and most of the other characters just 1 track, either Singapore or Daisy Cruiser, with 3 exceptions, if I see it correctly, which are the question mark Lock Me racing suit, which got another unique Coinbox course, Rainbow Road to RT, that's interesting, PD Piranha Me racing suit, and PD Piranha got this course as well. And furthermore, we have the PD Piranha Me racing suit getting Baby Park, which is the only plus skill option there. And then PD Piranha getting the R version of Baby Park, which is also the only plus skill option there. So those are huge buffs for the 2 drivers. PD also got some interesting other buffs. Yoshi Valley and Cooper Cape are both recent tracks. So that's a good start for him. And we will see that he's already high at our lists.
Yeah, massive for people who've already invested. He's going to have huge value. You can already see. It's a really solid start for him. And a question mark block Me racing suit, that Remix Rainbow Road 2 RT, is that a Satellaview course?
Yeah,
it is. Yeah, I thought it might be.
yes.
Yeah, it's tough when like Rosa Chef, for example, that giant. But I'm stoked that she got a good buff there. But then I've already got Daisy Holiday Chair at a relatively high level, so makes it hard to invest into an item unless they get those exclusives. So I'm still, I've got my hopes set on Rosalina Chef being really good, but yeah, it seems that the real winner here is going to be Daisy Tie Dress and PD Piranha. Guys, the ACR projections are looking really low this tour. Massive shout out to Rashid and Nadino for their predictions. It's a really interesting one. It's a really low top 1,000. We haven't seen it that low in quite some time, which shows just how, even with all the plus skills this tour, a lot of lower scoring courses, and people don't have some of these new items at a high level for courses like Baby Park. So there you go. There are your predictions. Let me know down in the comments below if you're going for top 100 or top 1,000, or maybe hopefully not, but hopefully top 10. Let me know in the comments down below. And then Flo, did you want to talk a little bit about the plus skill distribution?
Yeah, so we see the other distribution on the left side. It's very interesting that we see the typical distribution of Coinbox tracks, that's for sure. And then we also see a couple of Boombox options, but it's interesting to see that we have 5 tracks where Lucky 7 is the best option, if I've counted it correctly. So there are a couple of RMX Vanilla Lake and Warrior Shipyard, and then of course the Daisy Cruiser T track, where you could decide, okay, of course Giant Banana would be the other option. I think Lucky 7 is a little bit stronger if you get the perfect run. Maybe Giant Banana is a little bit easier to get a decent run. So that's why I put it this way. And as you can see, Mattis and my plus skill distribution is looking a little bit different. I have still a huge amount of coin box tracks, but also missing gold me, question mark block me. So that's why I have to replace it with some non-plus skill options there. And for Matt, it's even more that he replaced. Yeah, no giant banana, but from the rest, a couple of tracks for each of the skills. So
to be honest, it's kind of the exact opposite of what I want to see. I want to see like 80% giant banana and then a few coin box. But this is just like boombox all day, every day. So you can see why I'm taking a break this tour. I actually enjoy boomboxing, but it's just time consuming. So I hear a lot of people say, I hate boomboxing. For me, I don't hate it. I actually find it quite peaceful and relaxing and fun, especially when you've got like, yeah. I do. It's just like you're chilling out, you know, you're not trying to get first until you've got a boombox, and then you reset, and then you're like, now I need to win. That's when it's stressful. But you know, I don't know. I find it fun, but like I say, it's just so time consuming. I just don't have time to get a perfect boombox, you know, coin.
So I tried to take that approach last tour, but I probably did it on, I think it was that Sky Garden Tea with Boomweegee, but there was like no middle shelf coin box. And so like hours like 6 through 12, I was like, you know, maybe I'll just do like everyone else does and just like put some music on my phone in the background and like just like groove instead of grind. And like after hour 4, I was like,
he was
this
zen.
Is kind of annoying still.
It's not working.
He was really zen until he wasn't. You know, he was just like chilling. He's like, oh my gosh, I hate this. This sucks.
Yeah. No, that it's definitely course dependent, because I was about to say, like, I was thinking in my head of Calamari Desert 2RT, which is just like this really fun course. There's like so many coin boxes, they're spraying coins all over the place, and you just need to pull that boomerang frenzy and you're sorted basically. But Sky Garden, that one there that you're talking about is, I think it's Sky Garden T, is that right? One's just not relaxing at all.
I really liked, okay, sorry, this is kind of off topic, but not really. But I really liked Volendam on the Toad Circuit one a while ago. Like that one that's fun,
yeah.
That
Toad
was
Circuit
a fun one
T?
where I think so, yeah. You can potentially get like up to, I think at one point in time I had like 4 coin boxes in my lobby, maybe it was 3. But it was just fun. Like it's frustrating when you don't get it, but I felt like if you get the lobby and you have like the 3 in there, like it's just relaxing.
And it's not just the lobby, it's also the starting position.
Yeah.
If you have 4 coin boxers, but you start out in first place, then you have to like not do you kind of have to start out with a nonstop combo.
Yeah.
Because you're trying to get back. And then, you're trying to get in that sweet spot of like, 4th to 6th. But when there's a big clump of people, I don't know.
And the coin boxes are all sitting at the back, getting
that's what I'm saying. Like
getting bullet bills or something. Yeah. All right. Yeah, it's an interesting one. But I'm taking a break.
Yeah.
Well deserved.
For sure.
Let's move right along, guys, and we've got our tour hot list for our drivers. So just a reminder about this hot list, it's just trying to surface up what are the items appearing most in ACR and rank this tour, giving them a simple score with a very basic formula, and then trying to figure out what are the best items. If you're going for ACR, you want to invest. Maybe you're a Daisy fan, maybe you're a Toadette fan, Dr. Peach is pretty huge for Dr. Peach's tour. I don't know if anyone's going to be taking cheap me racing suit to level 8 to go and dominate ACR top 100 this tour with the bubble. But interestingly, in there you got PD Piranha with already a score of 11 there, which is pretty big. Charging Chuck is very strong for our Lucky 7. I know there's a lot of people in the community who are big on Lucky 7. And have Charging Chuck at a high level. Luigi Vacation, massive tour for him. Daisy Tidress, already really solid. It's fascinating seeing, with all of the coin boxes and all the coin box overlap we have, seeing so little coin box to one particular character this tour. I think that's quite a unique thing. So, if your accounts like mine, where you've got every single coin boxer at least level 7 double capped, apart from, the new ones, Daisy, Tidress, and Yoshi Gold Egg, then it's not the kind of tour for you. That it doesn't really make sense unless you're unless you've particularly got, Daisy tie dress, maybe that makes sense. So yeah, there's a lot of new appearing courses this tour. Then moving on to the karts, we have the Coral Jet Cruiser with a score of 18. I think this kart could be pretty good. Who knows? Flowery Bandwagon is pretty strong too. The Watermelon kart, which you can't get to week 1 of ranked finishes. It's funny. Jet Cruiser. So I know that there's some people who have Jet Cruiser at a high level. It's a pretty underrated kart, and it's very strong for ACR this tour. What else is interesting? We've got Flower Kart really starting to come up through the rankings with a few more appearances this tour, and especially with those 2 ranked appearances. And then we have, a few other ones. We won't cover off too many, but take a look. Feel free to take a look, take a screenshot, and we'll go to the gliders. So the Tropical Balloons is the top with the Fire Manta glider in second place, but massive tour for the Candlelight Flight. For ACR players, I know when we're in the server, in the OG server, when we're doing a lot of these ticket time analysis, a lot of people are investing into the Candlelight Flight right now. It's a really, really popular and meta glider to invest into with some really good, solid coverage there. Also really strong tour for the Glittering Parasol and the Starry Great Sail. And I know the Silver Surfmaster, I think I've got 8 ACR appearances on my sheet right now for the Silver Surfmaster. So that would be my MVP if I was going for ACR this tour. Also shout out to the Wonderful Wings for you, Frenzy Fanboy there.
Yay!
All right, guys. We're going to talk about the ticket time algorithm. Flo, take it away.
Yeah, so ticket time, the basic idea is that you have a specific inventory, whether it is artificial or your personal one. And what you try out is you take one specific item, level it up, or assume you would level it up to the typical steps, like usually 6 double cap, and just look what is the improved score. And so that's what ticket time does. You can not only count the courses, but you can also see how much it improves. So if you already have an option like 5 double cap on that track, then of course the jump is not that big. But if you have no item at all because it's an unlock, then it's a huge jump. So that's what ticket time takes into account, and then computes a score gain per item, and creates a ranking out of that. And what it also does, as we can see on the right side, it takes the courses into account where you get this gains. So you have some pretty old tracks like Daisy Hills, for example, Vanilla Lake, one that we haven't seen for ages. But then we have other tracks like Cooper Cape, Coconut Mall, so the very recent ones, and those have a higher weight because they appear a lot more frequently in ACR and then also in ranked. So that's why the courses get different weights. You multiply these weights with the score gains, and then you get a final score. And we will analyze the rankings in a couple of minutes and slides.
Awesome. But before we do that, did you want to tell us about some updates with ticket time this tour?
Yeah, so I did some updates during the last tour. I also plan to finally go live this tour with the Ticket Time web app, so that you can upload your inventory there, and then finally can get all the things done there quickly and without my help, because usually I'm just doing the stuff for a lot of people in our IG server, but I also want to offer it to other people as well. So I hope I can finish it this tour. And before I release this version, I wanted to make some changes so that you can better optimize it to your case. So what I adjusted is the giant banana estimate, which is also updated in the DKR ACR sheet. If you notice that maybe the course weights are updated, as we have seen on the previous page. The RTs lose some value because we haven't seen a trick tour in a while. So I just decided that we have one trick tour in a year, probably. So that's why they lose some value. Then we have also seen that there is an option to add a handicap. And I also introduced that in ticket time. So you can just say, okay, I will just score 90% of the action count, or maybe even less, or a little bit more, whatever you want. And then you can just compute what will be the estimated score, and the rankings and values will change accordingly. Then when I did some investments for gamer Amy, then I had to see she has just huge amount of high level items. So the number of tickets that I defaultly invested just to make it to 6 double cap, something like that, is not enough. So you really have to focus, what if the item is at least level 7 triple cap? And just to fit that to your needs, that will be possible to change, so that if you're a free-to-play player, then you already level like 4 double cap is pretty high for you. Gold Plus maybe 6 double cap, and for whales even more. Then what we will already see in the on the next slide is that the new items get a recency boost. So this is interesting if you want to invest into specific items that are pretty new. Then of course they do not appear that high in the rankings, but I wanted to force them to appear a little bit higher in the rankings because they get more buffs by the old tracks that they haven't seen yet, and also by the new tracks. They got buffed more frequently, as we have seen on the plus skill buffs for PD and Daisy Tie Dress. So that's why I introduced the recency boost, that you can also adjust a little bit whether you want to make more conservative or more risky investments. And yeah, we have already discussed the web is under development. And of course, if you have any ideas, any comments on the ticket time algorithm, then feel free to reach out to me or Matt, or let us know what you think about it.
It's awesome, man. We love the development you're doing. I'm really excited for this to be a web app, so we can chuck our inventory in at any particular point and it spits out, kind of some kind of result. And, you've been super accommodating with all the different types of requests and needs of different people, whether that's me saying, hey, like this one's going to cost me 18 tickets, so I'm going to do this one instead. Can there be, can be weighted by ticket, or what the case might be. So I'm really excited to see that. And I know that when people get their hands on the tool, it's going to be really useful. So get excited for that, guys. No pressure, Flo. You can get it done when you get it done. But we're all excited for when we can use that at a whim. So we're going to get into the ACR upgrade rankings, and I'm really excited to look at some of these items, and then we're going to take a look at Frenzy Fangirl and Frenzy Fanboy's inventories. So firstly, this is just a reminder, this is the generic inventory that we've assumed an item is owned at level 3, and then we're assuming an upgrade to level 6 and double cap. And then we're looking at what is the gain of that item, and specifically, what is the gain per ticket. So our top 5 here, we've got the Goldney Racing Suit, Meowser, Mario Samurai, Yoshi Kangaroo, and Luigi Vacation, with 3 boomerang drivers in the top 5. It's pretty obvious that Nintendo is buffing hard these boomerangs and overlapping them with a lot of stuff to really spread that value out, so that you have to spread your tickets out, so that you have to spend more money. Come on, Mario. But that's the reality of this game, is it's really, like we say, it's a puzzle that you need to work out. And so while Mario Samurai is the 3rd item on this list, this here is it's not based on your inventory. So if you are brand new to the game today and you happen to have Mario Samurai as your only high-end driver, then I would say my recommendation would be maybe just take him to level 8 today if you had the tickets, or at least invest into him. But of course, as we know, we have a lot of overlaps with our account, so that needs to be factored in. But, actually, I'm starting to really come around on Mario Samurai. I know that he's had a pretty rough start, but the reality is he's still a very recent driver, which will get new buffs like we've seen this tour with Daisy Cruiser. And he will continue to get more buffs going forward, I am absolutely sure. Other interesting items on this, you can see right at the bottom, you've got Daisy Tie Dress jumping up 36 spots to number 14, and you've got PD Piranha jumping up 67 spots to number 15, which just shows you how strong those buffs have been in the last tour and in this tour, especially for PD Piranha. So this is a pretty rock solid list, guys. Look at your inventory, look at your coverage, but if there's an item perhaps on here that you haven't looked at, make sure you do take a look at it. For example, the Bronze Me, I don't think it's on a lot of people's radar right now, but as you can see, it's getting some decent coverage.
So quick question.
Go ahead.
The number 7 there, it says Shy Guy Ninja. Is that supposed to be Pink Shy Guy Ninja, the giant banana, or is that like the original?
It's
That's
Shy
the
Guy.
original one, yeah.
Because he only has
Which
like
is
3 tracks this
So this is
tour.
yeah. So this is looking at ACR overall for over an annual period. What is the scoring gain if you were to invest into these items? So this isn't
Cool.
unlike the
Gotcha.
Hotlist, which looks at their courses. This is actually, it's almost like a tier list, but it's more about what items make sense to upgrade. Now, of course, Shy Guy Ninja, he's been around a while, so his recency boost is very low, and he probably isn't going to receive any more new buffs. However, the coverage he does have is, as we know, pretty solid, especially if you didn't have other overlapping items at a high level.
Yeah. Cool.
Great question,
Fair
because
enough.
when we look at these tier lists, we're like, what is this? So yeah, good question. So now I wanted to dive a little bit further into some of these individual drivers, and I want to say a massive shout out to Larry98 for putting some of these images together. I know he was up late last night doing some of this for us, so we really appreciate you, man. It's really, really, really awesome. So if we look at Mario Samurai, first of all, there are a lot of overlaps you can see with Coinbox and with other plus skills. Just take a look at this image and just have a look at what other items are you're invested into already. On some of these courses, you can see he has very, very few exclusives. Baby Park T being his strongest one there. Also, Remix Ghost Valley 1 RT only with overlaps with Lucky 7 Me suits. So there's a couple there that are strong for Mario Samurai, but we really still need to see those exclusives to make his value make more sense for most people. Then taking a look at Rosalina Volendam, you can see it's pretty night and day from her to Mario Samurai. She has a pretty similar number of courses, but you can see there's a lot less plus skills across a lot of these. So investing might make a lot more sense. Especially as you can see some older items here, like, on Rosalina's Ice World, you can see Nabbit and Lakitu Party Time, who maybe you've got them at level 6, but perhaps you haven't taken them much further than that. And if you were to invest into Volendam, perhaps you would take her to an even higher level. Sky Garden being a really strong track for her, especially, and of course, the Piranha Plant slide from last tour. I think it's Piranha Plant slide T as well, being a very strong course for Rosalina Volendam. Guys, just stop me if you've got any questions about these drivers, if you wanted to point anything out. And then taking a look at Daisy Tidris, she's still very new. She's still got very few courses, but you can see that massive couple of exclusive Coinbox tracks with Daisy Cruiser and Daisy Cruiser R. She's also got exclusive on Choco Island 2T. Then Calamari Desert T is also a Coinbox exclusive, Coconut Mall. So it's pretty crazy, guys. Like, the amount of exclusives she has for Coinbox is pretty insane. So if you love Coinbox and you prefer that style of play, then she's started out really well, and she has massive buff potential right now with the new courses and also with returning retros as well. So I think if you're going to take a gamble and early investment right now, then she makes a lot of sense. And then taking a look at PD Piranha. So again, very new, but he's got some strong coverage already and some pretty good, pretty strong coverage. As always, there isn't much in terms of exclusives. So if we think about Boomerang as almost like an alternative to Coinbox, then he has Piranha Plant Slide and Baby Park R as some exclusives there. There's a few more. Also Yoshi Circuit T being a really good buff for him there. And the standard Yoshi Circuit as well, which I missed. So for I guess not necessarily exclusive, but really strong tracks with very limited other options or no plus skills at all. So I think either way, whichever ones you're investing into at this point, these ones have a really great starting value. Okay, and then taking a look at the carts that we have, we've got in the number one place, we have the Jukebox Buggy. Massive tour for the Jukebox Buggy, a hugely meta cart right now, massive amounts of coverage, 31 courses including all cities, which you can see just absolutely dominates that, apart from the Jet Cruiser with the 30. So that jukebox beat still coming back in a pack. The store still pretty pack locked items, so that means that it will still continue to get more value and more buffs going forward. Cupid's Arrow and Armored Rider in the second and third place. I really want a tour where Armored Rider just appears like 10 times, so I can, just invest in that thing really hard. But it hasn't quite got there yet. I know Prop Kart, you've invested into that, Frenzy Fanboy, so that's in fourth place. We've got the Jet Cruiser at number 5. Flo, I think, have you invested in the Jet Cruiser? Maybe I'm wrong on that.
No.
Okay.
I don't have it.
I must have imagined that. And then we've got the Warrior Wagon, which I know you have invested in, the Cactar, Combo Cruiser, Grey Cat Cruiser, and Yellow Off-Roader as the top 10 items there. And then you can see the Lightning Streamer absolutely exploding onto the scene, up 105 places all the way to 13th place on our list. Flo, do you want to tell us about the Lightning Streamliner? Any thoughts on that?
Sure. So one thing that I have, of course, to mention is the jump of 105 is not only because of his buffs, but also because we did this recency boost. We introduced it now to this list. So that's why I jumped now this high. Otherwise, it would have been maybe something like 50 places or 40 places, not that high. But since we introduced the recency boost and it also got nice buffs, that's why in total it jumps that high. And I also heard Anselef saying during the rundown that the Lightning Streamliner has just so amazing track selection. There's the first, I think, 9 starting tracks are all from this year, and now it got another baby park buff, so we just assume that it will appear a lot of times in the upcoming ACRs, because the new tracks are more frequently to appear in ACR, so there won't be a tour anytime soon where it gets less than 3 or maybe even 5 ranked ACR appearances. So that's definitely an item to invest into if you were lucky to get it.
Awesome. All right, and then moving right along to the gliders, we have in our top 5 places the Golden Wings, the Candlelight Flight, Record Setter, Wonderful Wings, and the Starry Great Sail. Some pretty fantastic items there. I think the ones rounding out the rest of the top 10 maybe a little bit more surprising, especially the Tropical Balloons appearing at 10, which will be down to the recency boost there. But also it had a really great start with some good coverage. And barely any city courses and a lot of nice coverage on some new courses there. Sakura Origami Glider is really starting to look much better. I know a lot of people have had issue with that one because it's had so many overlaps with other top end gliders, but looking at its coverage in isolation, it's actually quite strong and getting stronger by the day. Not really much to us to talk to here apart from maybe some solid increase for Wonderful Wings, and then also the Candlelight Flight and Golden Wings just holding really strong here. Okay, guys, I'm keen to move on because on the very next slide, we're going to be taking a look at first Frenzy Fanboy's inventory, and we're going to be looking at his drivers. So I don't know if you guys had a sneak peek when we sent some of this information through earlier, but we did have a wee play around with it. We decided to turn the recency boost, I think, off in this case. When you get hold of the tool yourself, you can mess around with it as much as you like. But we decided I was just a little bit more comfortable with turning that off for this. Because I know that, with the recency, there can be a little bit of speculative kind of element there. So the newer items won't appear quite as high on your list. So here we go. We're going to take a look at your drivers. So remember, this is a list not saying your best drivers, but instead it's telling us what are your best drivers to invest into or invest further into. So firstly, Frenzy Fanboy, which drivers do you have maxed out at level 8?
So I've got Gold King Boo at level 8 and
King Bob. King Bob Gold.
Oh, sorry, that's what I meant. Gold. Yeah.
Oh, right.
King Bob Gold. Yeah.
One of the round gold guys.
Yeah. Might be it. Like I
I
don't
think
have
Bowser Santa,
Meowser.
right?
Oh yes, thank you. Yep, that was
Can't forget
for
about
our
him.
ranked thing.
I appreciate that you guys know our inventory better than we do.
Yeah, we've been following along, definitely. Yeah. I think it was Rosalina's Ice World maybe that you invested into Bowser Santa to level 8 for that unlock.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I think he has that course unlocked, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Cool. So just those 2 drivers. So
Mhm.
here we go. So here are the top items that we would actually recommend you to invest into. And I've got on the next slide, I've actually got a little bit more analysis as well, so we can look at your coverage as well. So the first one is Meowser, and what he would give you is a weighted gain of 262,000 points in ACR over an annual period. That's what this is predicting. So in a year, if you took him to level 8, that's how many more points you would get within that year. Then the gain per ticket, so it only cost you 8 tickets to do that. So per ticket that you spend, that's 32,841 points that you gain back from that.
Cool.
Then if you look and you see I've highlighted a few cells. So the actual one with the most, I guess, the would make the most impact if you kind of put aside how many tickets it would cost is Rosalina Volendam, who I can see you don't even own, which is quite an interesting one. So, if you were to even take her, you can see it's only recommending to take her to level 6 and double cap, which would only cost you 15 tickets. But within an annual period, that would gain you 406,000 points within ACR if you were going every tour. And then you can see Mario Tuxedo, just as a kind of like a contrast, would cost you 18 tickets to take him to level 8 and triple cap. He would only gain you 110,605. So that might be an item that doesn't make sense in the game.
Studfit, are you listening? I'm just kidding. We have a rival in Studfit over me, Santa Bowser and Mario Tuxedo.
Yeah, sorry, Studfit, but he just doesn't have the lasting value here, and a lot of that will be down to, how often does Shy Guy Bazaar return and Choco Mountain RT, sure, he's got an exclusive there, but that is an RT which doesn't appear very commonly. So you can see where the kind of the value comes in. Whereas Rosalina Volendam, she's got all the right buffs. So might be an interesting item to think about in the future. No pressure there, man. It's your inventory. So we're going to...
I have to add one thing here.
Oh, yes, go ahead.
For the Mario Tuxedo, just to defend Studfit a little bit. So as you can see, it's not the 110K that you gain per year, but it's the left column, the weighted column. So it's the 300K roughly. But the one that is highlighted is also interesting to interpret because this is the raw value, and that's the highest one because, as you mentioned correctly, Mario Tuxedo just has a lot of old tracks that are not returning that often. That's why the raw value, if you're only counting the tracks and the gains per track, is pretty high. But and you can also see on the right column the count is 20. It's 22 tracks where you would improve on by doing that upgrade. But just because the tracks are so old, you won't gain that much per year by investing those 18 tickets. So that's the deal for Mario Tuxedo.
Mario Tuxedo's got 299,000 for the weighted, while Meowser has 262,000.
Exactly, but also Meowser is already triple capped, so that's why he cannot gain that much.
Yeah, so in terms of the weighted, of course, he's stronger than Meowser. However, that would only cost you 8 tickets for Meowser, whereas Tuxedo will cost you 18 tickets. So you're just not going to do that, to get that scoring increase. So we wanted to order it by gain per ticket because it just makes more sense when we're trying to be as conservative with our resources as possible.
So correct me if I'm wrong, but when I see this analysis for pretty much everything except for Bad A Rosalina Volendam, it looks like without having the tool, I've invested tickets in a smart way, or in a way to be able to strengthen my overall loadouts instead of just kind of like spending tickets just kind of haphazardly
Friends
Right.
and fangirls'
You can
eyes
look at
just
me, it's
widened.
What?
Actually, looking at
So-
both of your inventories, the drivers were really strong on both accounts, I would say. And so, yeah, you're right. You're not getting huge amounts of value. You know, there isn't some glaring hole in your inventory that's gonna, add heaps and heaps of value. And there's another way we can look at this on the next slide, which I might go to now because it might help to understand this a bit better. This is looking at three of those drivers that we just discussed. So I think we've got we've got Rosalina Volendam on the left there. We've got PD Piranha in the middle, and then Gold Me just as a just to chuck it in there on the right hand side. So sorry guys, I know this is just an ugly screenshot of a spreadsheet, but this is the BGR tracker, which is what we all use. It's a resource that we should all use to look at which courses in particular would be upgraded in different things. So what I've done here is I've filtered out all of the high level drivers you already have, and what I've left it with is what upgrades you would get if you were to invest into these items. So immediately you can see why Rosalina Volendam is so high on your list as something that you don't even own, because already there's 6 courses there which you would get a good upgrade from, even with like a level 6 double cap kind of option, which is Cheap Island, Cooper Cape T, Piranha Plant Slide T, Rosalina's Ice World, Sky Garden, and Toad Circuit T, which is that one we were discussing earlier. So these are the courses in particular that if you really, really want a great driver on those ones, then Rosalina Volendam is the one to invest into there. As opposed to PD Piranha, who's brand new, so he could get a lot more courses, but he already has Baby Park R, Piranha Plant Slide R, Yoshi Circuit, and Yoshi Circuit T. So if you preferred a newer driver, then he might make a little bit more sense, especially as you have him. As opposed to not obtained with Rosalina Volendam. And on the right with Gold Me Racing Suit, you can see it's a little bit of a different story, because you can see you've already got some higher level items there, like on Yoshi Valley, for example. A few of those are Yoshi Gold Egg courses, who you've already got, I think, at level 6 in double cap. Is that right? I think, yeah. So, you would have to take him all the way to level 8 triple cap for it to be kind of worthwhile. I would kind of say anyway.
But so with the me suits having so many more base points, you don't have to take it to as high of a level in order for it to match a non-me suit
Totally
driver. So if I were to take it 6 and double capped, then it would way surpass what I have like Gigshi at 6 and double capped. So
yeah, man. Are you going to do it then?
when the time is right.
I'm just kidding.
Yes.
That's good. But yeah, I think this is a big win for Rosalina Volendam in your inventory. So it might be interesting to kind of do a similar analysis when she comes back around again, see it's worth pulling for her. Maybe not. Maybe Peter Piranha is much stronger at that point. You never know. But quite an interesting, set of courses to see for her.
But wasn't she in the special pipe in the Metropolitan Tour?
She was, yes.
Yeah, and I didn't
Even
pull
in
for her
the
there.
week 2, I think. Right?
Yeah.
I'm crossing my fingers for a pack. I think it'll be cheaper just to get her 3 times in a pack.
Yeah. So it might make sense. So definitely take a look next time she's available. Moving on to your cards. Here we go. All right. So I was interested with this one. There's actually quite a lot of, I found it cards always most interesting to me because it's very unique per account. So in your number 1 place is the Tiger Bruiser, and the recommendation there of spending 8 tickets to take it to level 8. I think most of that's going to be, the reason it's right at the top is because you've already got it triple capped, which would have been probably from your top 100 run in the New Year's tour, I think. So it's recommending you to spend those 8 tickets because it makes sense from a gain per ticket metric. In terms of the actual raw score, though, it's only 34k versus the 64k that, say, the Paintster would give you. But I'm not recommending the Paintster because, as we discussed, the same situation with the drivers, those courses just aren't returning as much. So for example, there'll be a lot of cities in there and such in there, and it would also cost you 15 tickets. The one that I am really curious about, or the 2 that I'm really curious about actually, is the Yellow Off-Roader and the Combo Cruiser. I think these 2 are the most interesting ones, and typically people are investing in one or the other. Not every account has both. I have an account where when I inherited this account, it already had both at a relatively high level. And don't get me wrong, they're both great cards and they both have uniques, but they do also have a bit of overlap as well. So I think for your account, I would actually recommend picking one of these and investing into it. And on this list, the yellow off-roader would take you less tickets. So it's recommending 6 double cap will take you 11 tickets versus the 15 for combo cruiser. The combo cruiser would give you a higher weighted score though. So it's always that trade-off there that you're making. Flo, feel free to chime in if you wanted to add anything here.
No, that's completely fine. Correct.
Cool. And then, so this is actually looking then at the courses both of these items would give you. So you can see, sorry, I think I've made a mistake there. I've got the wrong screenshot for, that's supposed to be for yellow off-roader. I've got the gold knee racing suit there. Sorry, that's my mistake. I'll message you in Discord after with a screenshot of this one. But at least for the combo cruiser, which makes a little bit more sense from what I looked at, the courses combo cruiser would give you are pretty nice. So you've got Cheap Island R, Donut Plains 1T and 2R, Cooper Trooper Beach 2R, Mushroom Gorge T, Waluigi Pinball R, Wario Shipyard R, and Wario Shipyard T. Firstly, it's quite a long list. Those are also, the Wario Shipyards are returning quite a lot. Some of the other ones, they're okay. And they are, they're more than you kind of realize. But that's actually a pretty solid list of courses that the combo cruiser would give you upgrades for if you were to invest into it. So I definitely recommend looking at these two items and doing a bit of a comparison and thinking about, do you want to invest further into the yellow off-roader or maybe, take the combo cruiser to a higher level?
Maybe as a short heads up, because I already noticed that the yellow off-roader has at least Cheap Island R, and Donut Plains 2R, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm completely sure about the first two ones, because that's why I didn't pull for the yellow off-roader, because they have all the 3 cheap islands, both of the cards, and that's a huge overlap. But yellow off-roader would help at least at those 2 tracks as well. Not sure about the others.
Yeah.
And I found it interesting. It's 30th on your list at only level 1, which is kind of crazy.
Right. Yeah. So I think outside of the like the King carts, obviously, and then like the Lunar Cruiser, I think the combo cruiser is the one that I want to invest in the most, just because like for aesthetics or like I'm just most excited about it.
The combo cruiser.
Yeah. But just for like I keep on saying, just my goals in rank and ACR just haven't warranted me putting those tickets on it yet. And so I don't know, like
absolutely.
There's no I'm
pressure.
playing the long game.
Yeah.
I'm playing the long game. And so I think here's the thing is I'm really excited about this tool, the ticket time tool, because when the opportunity does arise, I'm definitely going to be reaching out to Flo and you and using this tool to just unleash as many tickets on the fewest amount of items to give me the most point potential possible for a particular goal that I may or may not be trying to achieve. So
very good, man. Very good.
So right now, as I go tour to tour, I'm really just trying to accumulate as many items, as much ammunition as possible, so that when the occasion does arise, I have those items and it's not like, shoot, I don't have it. So what's the next best thing? Whatever. So
just pick a tour where Rosalina Volendam isn't in it.
Right.
Okay. All right. And then let's take a look at your gliders. So there's a really obvious thing going on here. And I found your gliders quite different to your drivers, actually. There was probably more opportunity to improve some scoring within the gliders than some of the other aspects of your coverage. So the number one, it's very obvious, and you can see the Candlelight Flight 1 out based on the the weighted coverage. So the courses it's got and how often they're appearing, and then the gain per ticket. It won out in both of those categories. The Glittering Parasol is an interesting one. I think you don't own that one. It had the highest raw coverage or raw scoring potential increase. But yeah, quite fascinating. Also, Tulip Corsage in the second place there, recommending you take it to level 6 in double cap. So I think on the next page I had those two ones. Yes, so on the left we've got the Candlelight Flight, and then on the right we've got the Tulip Corsage. I've filtered out all of the other courses you've already got at a high level. So this is purely just looking at what upgrades would you get if you were to invest into these items here. So I think in this, I think to get a score of 88, you take it to 6 and double. I think that's correct. Off the top of my head. So you can see that the Candlelight Flight would give you Baby Park R, Bowser's Castle RT, Daisy Cruiser T, Piranha Plant Slide R, Shy Guy Bazaar, and Yoshi Valley R. Now, if you took those two Piranha Plant Slides out, it wouldn't look that great, but you can see both of these items, as we discussed in the last episode, have both of those courses. And so it makes it quite interesting to think about. It's almost like a glider wars, I would call it. And you can see that in the community. We have the Pretzel Gang and the Green Sprout Gang and the Starry Great Scale Squad. And I think the reason that's actually arisen in the community is because people realize, like, oh my gosh, the Starry Great Sale is amazing. And that's because they've got it at a high level. But as soon as you've done that, as Frenzy Fanboy, you know, and I think you discussed on your tour reaction, it makes other items a lot less valuable, because these gliders have so much coverage, and there's a lot of overlap between the top items. So, you know, I think one of these items would make sense to invest into. The Candlelight Flight sitting at 28th placed on your tier list in your BGR with only being at level 1 is a pretty big, like, hello, warning, alarm bells. So, you know, I think this is probably the least risky investment out of everything in your account, because glider tickets, you don't need as many because there's so few gliders you need to invest into in the game, and you've already got great glider coverage. However, this one is, I guess, probably more of a gap in your coverage than anything else. So that means that it's, you know, I mean, here's the thing: if it helps you in ranked, then it might make sense to be the thing that you invest into in the next couple of weeks. So that's my thoughts. Flo, anything from you to add on the gliders?
Yeah. Just I noticed that on the right screenshot, it's just the filtering of the Candlelight Flights and showing the Tulip Corsage.
Oh shoot!
So that's a little bit unfortunate. I don't know which.
I failed on the screenshots too early in the morning. My apologies.
No worries, guys. But what we already noticed is that Tulip Corsage has 3 overlap, and so if you decide to go for the Tulip Corsage, then maybe Candlelight Flight is not anymore a good option. So next week, Daisy Cruiser T is in ranked, so that might be an option to invest in one of these 2 items. And yeah, maybe you can have a closer look at what are the tracks that they improve on, and then go for a decision if you need to upgrade one of them for your ranked.
Yeah, so Tulip Corsage, it looks like, so I'm just looking at BNGs as well. I think it has a whole lot more like courses that are at that level 3.
Yeah.
I'm kind of leaning a little bit more towards it, just due to the fact that it was a pack only thing, kind of like the Wonderful Wings when it first came out.
So was the Candlelight Flight, but like you say, it's much newer, so the potential of the Tulip Corsage is much greater.
When Candlelight Flight first came out, like, I ended up getting it at 1, and I think like all but 2 of its tracks I had at I had some level 8 glider on it. And so it is interesting because I just kind of like have ignored it. So now it's interesting though to see, you know, like Baby Park, Piranha Plant Slide, Daisy Cruiser, like a lot of these new ones are popping up on it. But
yeah, I think
that's cool.
With the pack buying thing, like my personal thing is it makes sense to buy like a Kart 3 times, but you know, when it comes to the gliders, you know, it's good to obtain a glider, but then you don't know for sure if you're going to need that glider. It will have good coverage, but it will have a lot of overlaps. That's guaranteed. So it's just whether it or not it gets the right buffs and how long that takes. As we can see, glider buffs take a long time to get to the point where they're useful for any one particular account. The Candlelight Flight has 21 non-city top shelves, but you can see I've only filtered to the ones that you don't already have a good glider at. So that's just the reality of diminishing returns when you've invested into a lot of gliders at a high level already.
It looks like the Tulip Corsage, it has like 10 city courses. So a lot of these that I'm seeing that are like level 3, they're city courses. But then when I filter it out, it's like, oh, wait a minute. Because there's like a bunch of like Paris promenades and Amsterdams. So makes it rough.
So there we go. There you go, Frenzy Fanboy. There's a little bit of analysis on your account. Frenzy Fangirl, are you excited for your account now?
I feel like I'm going to the dentist, and I'm just like, I hope I don't have cavities. I swear, I brush my teeth and floss.
Okay.
Yeah, mine's gonna be a mess because I'm not nearly as diligent as he is with the BNG. So we'll see what happens.
Hey, maybe you just lucked out and you just invested into the right thing. So we'll find out right now.
Okay.
Here we go. So so very similar with Meowser being right at the top of your list with the biggest gain per ticket at 43k there. Now you can see if you compare that to say Frenzy Fanboy, maybe he spent more tickets and investments into his account. And so therefore the gain per ticket is going to be higher for your account because you have more lower level items right now. And I know that you've got a secret giant ticket stash, so that's probably where all your scoring gain is sitting. But you have different goals. I know you're not an every tour ACR player, Frenzy Fangirl, so this might be a little bit of a different analysis. It might be more on the courses that you want to upgrade on as well. Pick Up Peach in second place is an interesting one, and a lot of that will be, you can see the recommendation is only 8 tickets to go to level 8 because she's already triple capped, same as Meowser. So being that she's already triple capped, you're going to use her everywhere on all of her courses that she has, even though she has overlap with like King Bob and Gold, who has a larger hitbox. The largest part of the scoring game for Pink Gold Peach is going to be Rosalina's Ice World T, which is her exclusive coin box unlock, which also, I think, someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that overlaps with Rosalina Volendam. Maybe I'm wrong there, but
it's wrong. It's Rosalina Chef that has this track as well.
Yeah,
but...
Rosalina Chef. Yeah, correct. Thanks, man. And then third place is Charging Chuck, recommendation to take him from level 5 and single cap to level 7 double capped. That's quite a solid recommendation there. Also, Luigi Vacation is an interesting one, and I think I might have an image of him on the next slide if I did the screenshot right this time.
And I literally just got Luigi Vacation. Like I missed out on him on the first wave, and I finally got him. So I'm like, especially with him being in ranked this week, I'm like, should I do it? Should I do it? So I'm excited.
Well,
I'm glad that he's up here.
Yeah. PD Piranha, also really interesting because he's brand new. So, the scoring potential is, the buff potential is huge. And, 15 tickets to take him to level 6 and double cap there. You can see a bit further down the list, I've just highlighted Yoshi Kangaroo, who had the highest raw scoring gain, but you can see that firstly, you don't have him. And then secondly, those courses haven't been appearing as much recently. So, it just shows you how, Yoshi Kangaroo is great, but you already have, the focus needs to shift to the newer courses, I guess, is what I'm trying to say there. So taking a look at the next slide, we've got a look at three drivers. Let's see if I filtered it right. Yeah, I think I did. The 3 that we're looking at here is Luigi Vacation, PD Piranha, and then Daisy Holiday Chair. And the reason I put Daisy Holiday Chair in there, she's a brand new coin boxer. So I thought it would be quite interesting to look at her coverage as well. So
Wait, Daisy Holiday Chair, she's...
sorry, my mistake.
She's Lucky 7 from old school.
Thanks. That was really dumb.
No worries.
Actually, yeah, it's the opposite. No, I remember. Sorry, I was doing these slides at like 11 p.m. last night. So
totally.
My brain's just starting to turn back on. Actually,
there's no shame. My brain's never turned on. So
actually, the reason I wanted to look at Daisy Holiday Cheer is actually the opposite. She's a very old driver, but she's still getting new buffs, which is kind of interesting. And she's actually got some really good coverage for your account. So we'll take a look at that in a moment. But firstly, starting off with Luigi Vacation, he's really, really good. So you've got Cheap Island R, Cheap Island T, Coconut Mall T, Luigi's Mansion R, Neo Bowser City, Sky Garden T, Sunset Wilds R, and Yoshi Valley T. So this massive list of really relevant, high scoring tracks, which, you look at the amount of R's and T's, and they're all, none of them are RTs, none of them are cities. So those are really, that's like the most returning retros, the most likely probably courses to appear in ranked as well. Then we look at Petey Piranha, Baby Park R, which is the exclusive there, which he is already your best driver. Cooper Cape R, Piranha Plant Slide and R, the RMX Rainbow Road 2 RT, and then 2 Yoshi Circuit tracks. So maybe, quite similar. I mean, these are also really great courses here. Maybe, the Yoshi Circuits, you already have maybe Yoshi, OG Yoshi at like level 7 and double capped or something like that.
Yeah.
So maybe, it's like, there's an overlap there. So just depends how much you want to invest into an item. But certainly Luigi Vacation may be a bit more paywalled than Petey Piranha right now. However, Luigi Vacation is probably at the sun-setting end of his coverage as opposed to starting out. So this shows you how strong Petey Piranha will be in the future. And then, to contrast that, Daisy Holiday Cheer, quite interesting. I found this, and I think it's probably one you're probably not looking at all.
She's been trolling me. She trolls me every time she pops up because I'm like, I have that feeling where she pops up. I'm like, should I do it this time? And if it doesn't actually help me in ranked, I decide not to, which has been the case.
Well, she's in ranked next week, right? So, if you were to take her to level 6 and double cap, she would actually give you massive amounts of improvement here. Now, how often some of these courses return is, it's hard to say. There's more courses being added to the game all the time, so you don't know if, how often any of these courses will return. But, certainly, if you're an ACR player, then you would be wanting to invest into Daisy Holiday Cheer for the long term. Okay,
so here's my question for you. So this is okay. So I'm glad that we're talking about her because next week on the Daisy Cruiser T, which is what she's at, I have 3 drivers all at level 1. So I have Rosalina Chef, Daisy Cheer or Holiday Cheer, and then I have Party Time Lackitude. So I was debating between those 2, which one to upgrade. Would you go with Rosalina Chef, who is a brand new driver and potentially has a bunch of stuff, or since she's so good for my account, would you recommend going that way?
Truly, if I were you personally, I would say Rosalina Chef. Firstly, because Giant Banana. I love Giant Banana. Secondly, she's brand new and will get lots more buffs. Even though Daisy Holiday Cheer is still getting the buffs, so your mileage may vary. But then thirdly, because she's newer, she will get more ranked buffs. She's only now just starting to creep in with these ranked buffs, but she will get ranked buffs likely for the next few months. And I know that your goal's very much in line with ranked, so she might be a really interesting. You look at Pinja, he's been basically the ranked champion for like the last couple months, and here I am sitting with Pinja at level 1,
right?
Like
but it's Giant Banana. What?
I know. Yeah, I know. It's just it just doesn't make sense because the problem is Charging Chuck. He's just way too many overlaps with Charging Chuck. So who I already had at 6 and double, and he's been carrying me. He was the previous for me. He was the previous like ranked champion plus skill driver. Yeah. So what about you, Flo? What would you say different?
Yeah, I agree. So if you want to go for ranks, then probably Rosalina Chef is the better option. I don't know. Can you just go back to one slide if like you do Party Time and Rosalina Chef appear on the list? Doesn't seem to be the case. So Daisy Holiday Cheer is on 8. I can then later check which place the other 2 are. So yeah, what this is for is of course the ACR proposal. If you want to go for ACR, then Daisy Holiday Cheer is the perfect option to go for it. If you prefer ranked, then probably the new items, and in this case, then Rosalina Chef is the better option. I also want to highlight one thing what I just noticed when looking at the three drivers. They overlap almost at no track at all, at least for the ones that they improve. So the only one I saw that is occurring twice is Luigi's Mansion R. So for example, if you want to upgrade both Luigi Vacation and PD Piranha, that is perfect because they don't overlap right now. Maybe PD will collect some tracks from Luigi Vacation later on, but for the time being, that's a very good investment because so actually you could do Luigi Vacation for week 1 and then for week 2, as you can see, Baby Park R,
we got to we've got to get into your tickets, Frenzy Fangirl.
Yeah.
He has more than me now, so.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Granted, Bowser Jr. has Baby Park R, so PD might not be necessary next week, but yeah, definitely a driver to look on.
I know the other part to your strategy at the moment, Frenzy Fangirl, is time. And that's a big thing for me too with 2 young boys. And so, another way to think of it might be that investing into some of these items, sure, if you were going to boombox, then it probably wouldn't save time, but don't do that. But you get higher level coverage on courses that are appearing in ACR, and it just speeds up your grind to get to clear out your token shop, to clear out your tour gifts and everything like that. So even from I just like driving with high level items. I just don't like driving with level 1 items.
Right.
So I think that's why I like
problems.
ACR personally, right? So
yeah.
Awesome. So there are your drivers. Let's move on to the carts. And I should have said this beforehand, but there's no pressure to invest into any of these items, guys. This is just purely to help you and give you some insight into your coverage. So there's no pressure whatsoever. We're not going to be watching your videos going, is she going to invest?
You should totally judge us. Watch us and be like, why are you not taking my advice? That's what I do to other people. I'm like, everybody should have Gigshi at level 8.
And the black hot rod.
And the dark hop rod, yeah.
Oh, I'm so jealous of your Gigshi. Yeah.
She's awesome.
And I've got Dark Hop Rod at a high level too. It's good. All right. So let's look at your cart. So in the first place is a really interesting one, Combo Cruiser, which you've currently got at level 4. So only 10 tickets here, which is your best, lowest number of tickets or gain per ticket investment there. The raw score isn't maybe quite as high, with the raw score going to Sunny Surf Sailor, which you're probably not going to invest into based on how frequently its courses return. But the other really interesting one is the Jukebox Buggy with a huge 226,000 score gain if you're to invest into that. I think it's in ranked this tour as well. So it could be a really interesting one to look at this tour because it's got so many appearances. And so going to the next slide, I think I've got, Combo Cruiser and the Jukebox Buggy in comparison. Firstly, look how long these lists are. This is insane. I didn't filter out any other courses here. So you can see with Combo Cruiser, it's got a lot of overlaps. So it would give you, I think that's 7 courses upgrades on. So it looks like really nasty overlap, but actually 7 is pretty strong. There already, seeing as you've got it at level 4, so it's only 10 tickets to take at level 6, and I'd recommend a double cap there. And then the Jukebox Buggy, alternatively, you can see how crazy is this. It's got it's the one that has like all of the coverage, and you're using it on 17 courses already. So investing further into it is going to make it even stronger in your inventory. And we saw on the upgrade rankings earlier in the episode that it is the #1 cart on our list for any generic inventory, and you can see why. It's just got massive amounts of value here. Was it appearing in ranks? Does anyone know where it's in rank this tour?
Singapore Speedway 2T should be.
So that's an example of something we
2R.
2R.
2R? Is it this week? Okay.
So it might be an example where you think, it's a city course, so I'm not going to invest into it. But actually, if you look at in totality, it's already your best cart on 17 courses,
Yeah, it's a double feature. Well, now here's the fun thing about the
Even
jukebox
better.
buggy is I missed out on it on the first go around, and I loved it, but it was in a pipe that like it just
No, it was in a pack.
was it in a pack.
When it was first introduced, it was a pack.
Oh
right?
yeah, it was a pack. That's right.
That's why it's getting all
Anyways,
the
I
coverage.
I skipped it, and then when it finally came available again, I was like had total FOMO over it. So I was like, I'm going for it, and then I got it and took it to level 6 right away. And so
Best
it was a huge
decision.
investment off the bat, and it's just been
Yeah.
paying dividends ever since. Now it's a double feature again. So
And you know what's crazy is I bought the jukebox buggy
yeah,
when it first came out in the pack. I bought it once.
Yep.
And guess what level it's at right now?
it's at level 1.
It's at level 1.
And I mocked him the entire time. I was like, you are silly. You have this thing. So I finally got it. And I was like, but that's all this. So the difference between our gameplay is if I buy something, which I can't remember, did I buy this or did I pull for it when I finally got it?
I think you pulled for it.
I think I pulled for it because I had major FOMO. But if I invest a lot into like obtain something, my new strategy is like, you have to commit to it. So
It's such a good strategy. I don't pull it, like I didn't pull for PD or Tie Daisy on my free-to-play account because I didn't have the rubies, but also because I didn't have the tickets. So it's like, there's no point in pulling for something you can't invest into. And yeah, I totally agree, especially from a karts and gliders perspective. There's no point in spending all your rubies unless you're gonna, level the things up and they've got good starting value. From my perspective.
Now, if you look at my inventory, you can totally call me out on my strategy because I don't stick to it consistently. But, so for example, when I went for PD, he was 98 out of 100, right? So like I wasted so many tickets on him, and I still have him at level 1. But
so many rubies.
So many rubies on him, but I still have him at level 1. But that green Piranha Plant Cart, the pipe thing, I took to level 6 right away. So that
was a triple feature in the week 2 of ranked.
That was amazing.
And that's first.
That's the way to go with, you get something really distinctive design wise that comes out in a pipe like that and a new original character. And then you saw that with the Kamek Zoom Broom. Now that's going to be massively buffed and ranked for like the next, months and months and months. And unlike the Kamek Zoom Broom, it actually, is nice wide hitbox.
Huge hitbox.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah. So that you won't regret that, I'm sure. All right, let's move on. We're almost at the end, guys, and we're going to take a look at Frenzy Fangirl's gliders. So we've got the Snow Crystals as number 1, and I can see you've already got that at 7 triple cap, so it makes sense for these items that all appear at the top. They're already level 7 with a triple cap on them, so it's basically kind of comparing the 3 items and saying, they're already your best gliders, so therefore you would improve these tracks further if you were to take it to level 8, and it's only 8 tickets to do so. So it's kind of opposite what we normally talk about. 8 tickets is way too much, but the reality is you're using these items on these courses every time they come around anyway. So from a ACR scoring perspective, level 8 does make sense for those items. Maybe not quite so much from a ranked perspective. The one that's really interesting here, and the one that I actually do want to do a sales pitch here. So there's the one point in the entire episode I do want to try to sell you on something. Buy the Candlelight Flight.
Okay.
And I wouldn't usually tell someone to buy a pack or anything like that. And I am jesting, but the Candlelight Flight is a really interesting item. And we're going to take a look at it on the next slide, I believe, as well. But you can see straight away that with the weighted gain, 225 is really strong. The only one that can compete with that is the Black Great Sale, which would cost you more tickets to get that kind of gain. And you've already got that at level 7 and double capped, whereas the Candlelight Flight you don't even own yet. And the recommendation is only level 6 and double capped. So it's going to give you some good coverage. So if we jump to the next slide here, I've got on the left-hand side the Candlelight Flight. I think the other one I wanted to look at is the Wonderful Wings. I'll just jump back to look at Wonderful Wings here. That's in the 6th place here. And you can see, pretty similar story. And it would only take you 11 tickets to go from level 4 to level 6 and double capped. So the difference here might be, do you want to spend a bit of money and then a few more tickets, or do you want to save the money and then spend a few less tickets? And then Wonderful Wings might be a really interesting option as well. And I know Frenzy Fanboy is going to support that wholeheartedly. So if we take a look at these two items, you know, and for me personally, what it always comes down to is what are the courses I actually love and want to upgrade. I know for me, when I'm going to be going for ACR personally, it's actually going to be mostly based on the courses and how I enjoy the courses there. Like if there's a tour where I don't like a lot of courses, I'm probably not going to go for top 100 in that tour because it would just be a chore as opposed to something fun and enjoyable. So taking a look here with the Candlelight Flight, you've got Baby Park R, Bowser's Castle RT, Daisy Cruiser T, Ghost Valley 1, Piranha Plant Slide and the R version, Shy Guy Bazaar R, Wario Shipyard R, Yoshi Valley R. It's a big list. And those are the ones that, you know, you can guarantee these. You look at Piranha Plant Slide, you look at Wario Shipyards and Yoshi Valleys. These are going to be coming back and ranked, you know, all the time over the next 6 months. So, you know, if you were to invest into it now, you're probably not going to regret having that solid coverage on these courses. Same with Bowser's Castle, that's pretty solid, and Baby Park as well. And that, not to even mention Daisy Cruiser. Then if we look in comparison at the Wonderful Wings, which is already, you know, a more utilized glider, being that you've got it at level 4 already and 16th best in your inventory based on the BGR tier list. You've got Baby Park T, DK Summer R, Calamari Desert 2 RT, Mushroom Gorge R, Piranha Plant Slide T, Rock Mountain R, Rosalina's Ice World R, Shy Guy Bazaar T, Sky Garden T, and Wario Shipyard RT. So there's a couple RTs in there which don't return as often, but certainly still a great list of tracks. And, you know, Flo's point that he made earlier about the drivers that we're recommending you upgrade, you can see here, there's not that much overlap. Or is there any overlap? Maybe not
There's
even
no
one overlap.
So not in the filtered ones, yeah.
You could actually think, and it might be not a, I'm going to invest into it now. It might be a, when it's right and ranked, then invest into one or both of these items. Are either of these items in, so Candlelight Flight's in ranked this week, is it? Or next week?
Wonderful Wings is this week. Candlelight Flight is probably next week because that's the pack. Yeah. It's Lakitu Party time. Candlelight Flight's twice next week?
Yeah, Baby Park R and Daisy Cruiser T. So that
here's the problem.
Be... Go on.
So if we're looking at this, I know this is an ACR game plan, but if we're looking at it as a ranked strat plan, so Wonderful Wings this week though is on the same course as my 8-bit mushroom at level 700. So I don't think I'll be taking that to level 8 right away. And then next week, which one did you say that the Candlelight's on?
Baby Park
R and Daisy Cruiser T, yeah.
So it's a double feature, and I know you love those double features. So
I do love, but I also really want to go for the tropical balloons. Okay.
Well, you might need to buy some rubies for that then, right?
Right. I know. Low on rubies.
Yeah, you don't have to tell us how you're going to spend your money, but I'm sure you've got some birthday money squirreled away somewhere. Yeah.
Definitely. But it would be a great one for me on Daisy Cruiser T. I only have Nabbit Oil Paper at level 2 is my contender with that. So
yeah, and you're probably not going to invest into that at that point. I know it's got some good coverage, but you know, compared to the Candlelight Flight, the courses, you know, that appear just it's just not going to be as relevant going forward. And the cool thing, you know, I know this is ACR, and we talk in these the ticket time looks at the ACR appearance, but you know, ACR appearance does have a correlation with ranked, being that, you know, often things that are appearing in ACR are in the ranked cup in one of the weeks. Right. So there is the correlation there. So there you go, guys.
One thing that I want to mention, because you pointed out the correlation between ACR and ranked. You can even view ranked from a perspective that if you go for ACR and have a nice coverage on all of the tracks, then you're sure that the track that is coming back and ranked, so there's usually at least one track that is coming back, you're well prepared on that track, and you only have to cover the new tracks. So that's the nice combination between the two.
Yeah.
Nice,
Yeah.
man. Yeah.
I like it.
Cool. So there it is, guys. There are your rankings. There are your, recommendations of what you might upgrade. So no pressure, but what are some thoughts? Like, what is everyone investing into right now? I'd love to hear from everyone around. What are your personal goals? What are you going to do? Are you pulling pipes? Are you spending all your tickets? Are you like me? I mean, I'm in saving mode. I'm staying in saving mode, saving all my tickets and resources at the moment. But man, it's just so tempting. There's so many things that I would love to invest into ranked right now. Even if it's like taking jukebox from level 5 to level 6, I would love to do that, but I'm holding off right now and trying to conserve my resources. What about you, Flo? Tell us about your latest investments.
Yeah, my latest investments you have seen on the first slide or on the second slide. So those were PD and Lightning Streamliner. So they will hopefully carry me for quite a while. And for the gliders, I would really like to invest into the Candlelight Flight if I am able to get it in some random gold pipe. So it's a regular one. So that's why there's always a chance that you can get something good of the gold pipe. This chance is low, but maybe I'm lucky to get the Candlelight Flight, and then I will put it straight to 6 double cap if I have the tickets available. Maybe just for double cap for now, but
Good on you for your commitment
to
your free-to-play approach, because I know that must be super tempting seeing that in the pack this store. Maybe not when it's the 40 ruby pack, which is more expensive, but
yeah.
And what about you, Frizzy fanboy?
So I'm in the same boat as you, just trying to hoard resources as much as possible. I haven't spent a ticket on anything, and I don't know how long it.
It's by hoarding to shame.
So, but it has been very enlightening, the whole discussion with Candlelight Flight, because to be honest, when I originally acquired Candlelight Flight, I had written it off because there was so much overlap with stuff that I had at already level 8. Starry Great Sail and Wonderful Wings had a bunch of overlap, but it seems like it's kind of like diverging, I guess you could say, in getting different buffs than the Wonderful Wings and the Starry Great Sail are. And so maybe I kind of need to reassess it. Or here's the other thing, is I'm always thinking, like, when there's a Bowser tour that comes out, maybe the new glider that comes out with that is going to like overlap big time with the Candlelight Flight, right? And so obviously you're going to want to go with like the newer item and take it to the max to begin with. So that's why I'm kind of hesitant to pull any kind of triggers right now on something that, I might have at like level 1 or like level 3. It's good to have it there, but if in the future, if there's something that really works out where the syzygy is just off the charts, the stars aligning, I would much rather spend those resources on that newer item that I'm more excited about. So
yeah, man. Well, at least it's a double feature. So if you do, need that, and I'm sure you'll be using your calculator to figure out if you need that to win ranked or not, then could make sense. Yeah, it's interesting. The buffs are interesting nowadays because there's so many new courses that it's almost like you have to be invested into more items anyway. Because I was thinking new Bowser Tour comes, maybe there's a whole new set of Bowser courses and all these other new courses anyway. So there's, the amount of times we've seen items that we're talking about here that have almost no overlaps is really quite interesting. But you never know. It can go very different ways. I know the Wicked Topaz hasn't been working out as well as some people would have liked right now with the overlaps there. So yeah, gliders are definitely a bit of a gamble when a new one comes out. Cool. And Frenzy Fangirl, talk to us.
Well, because it helps me in ranked, I'm for sure going to do something with Boom Ouija. I don't know if I'll take him all the way up right now, like you said, but I think if I at least take him to level 4 right now, it'll improve my ACR and it'll help me clinch first in rank this week. So I think that's one for sure I'm going to do, because I was kind of almost waiting just for like permission. My fear with him, because I literally just acquired him, was like, did I miss the boat, right? Like, is all of his like heavy hitting stuff kind of done with? But I think with the amount of tickets that I have, like, it's not a horrible idea to take him to level 4.
He's going to be in the special pipe. that comes out tomorrow. Would you pull at all for a special pipe? He's not a spotlight.
What else is in the special pipe? Remind me.
Let me
And
show
while
So
he
the
looks that up,
Mantas-
when does the go for it?
The Mantas as for gliders, and for drivers, I'm not completely sure. For there's definitely Charge and Chuck.
Funky
the
Charging
rest-
Kong.
Chuck,
You have to.
Funky Kong, and Swimwear Daisy.
Man.
Yeah.
Triple banana for Swimwear Daisy.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
definitely an
so-
avoid pipe for me personally, but you know.
Yeah. When does the Candlelight come out in a pack? Is that next week?
Wednesday,
Next week, yeah.
Wednesday? And is that a $20 pack or a $40 pack?
No, it's the most
It's a 90
expensive one,
rupee
yeah. Yeah.
Does
but
it
you
come
do
with anything
get-
else, or is it
you
just
get
like?
Lakitu.
Lakitu party, yeah,
Party time.
yeah, and you get an upgrade
torn.
there, so it might be interesting.
Okay, so here's a little insight into my obsession with some things. I love this tropical glider and I need it in my life. Like it's just kind of like something I
Just
need.
because it has a straw coming out of its head.
We spent an hour and a half
It is
just
like-
talking about data, and then Frenzy Fan goes like, "It's colorful. It has sunglasses. I want it."
I feel like it's my personality encapsulated in a
In a
in
glider.
a glider, so I just feel like I need it in my life. But that being said, we'll have to see how deep I have to go for it, because if I have to like use tons of rubies, because it's just gonna be in my inventory no matter what. So if I have to use a bunch of inventory or rubies for it, the Candlelight Flight, I typically don't buy just for rubies, but if I need rubies, I might be able to justify getting that because it is so good for my account. I'm also like, we've said this on our channel a lot, but we're like in a really crazy busy time in our life right now. But I'm hoping one day in the near future, I can do another ACR run. And if the Candlelight Flight potentially will help me out with that, it might be worth snagging that.
Yeah.
And I'll probably sit on it until it like, that might be one of the exceptions where, because I'm actually doing it through the lens of like a potential ACR thing, I'll sit on it for a while until it actually like helps me in my account for ranked or ACR. But I would hate to get to a point where I want to go for ACR and it does have that coverage that I need and I just can't, so.
Yeah,
We'll
I
see.
think the items like the Candlelight Flight, if I was to take that to a high level today, realistically in a tour, 2 months from now, the Candlelight Flight would have at least 2 to 5 appearances in that ACR, depending on which courses appear. So, these kind of items, when you do go for ACR, there is still an element of overall coverage that impacts other than just investing into all the new items, but certainly investing into all the new items. If you can do that, like Flo did in his top 100 run, it can be the most efficient way to get great level coverage quickly and guaranteed. Because all the course, I remember the moment I realized, the new items that come out in the tour only have courses that appear in that tour. It sounds so obvious, but it took me a while to realize that. And the moment I realized that, I was like, oh wow, that's very different. New items, you need to pay attention to the courses appearing in that tour before going and pulling for something.
So can we talk about something just real quick on those lines?
Go ahead.
So the I think it is this tropical glider.
It's so cute.
It has, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it has like 11 courses like starting out.
Yep.
If you were to include its level 3 and level 6 and level 8 unlocks, which I think is kind of high for
Brand new glider.
for any kind of brand new item. What's your guys' take on that? Is that a pro or a con, knowing that gliders, well, any item really, is going to max out at some point with the number of items that it has? So let's say hypothetically that 30 is the max. If a new item were to come out and say only have 7, or let's say 6 items, that would be a fifth. So it would have 24 tracks to be able to grow and get buffs on. Versus if it comes out with 10 or 11, that means it only has like 20 or 19 tracks left that it could possibly be buffed. What are your guys' takes or thoughts on something like that, with especially this new glider that has so many courses right now coming out?
It's a good question. Flo, what are your thoughts?
So my thoughts are every buff that it already has is a good thing. So even if it's a city, it's not that bad. Of course, if you are starting in a city tour, that's not that great. But I just had a look at the tropical balloons because I was not completely sure which tracks it covers. But as you have seen, it started directly at number 10 in the general ACR rankings. So that's a really huge start. And let me check. So there are 2 Cooper Cape tracks, there are 2 Baby Park tracks. There is, or even the 3rd Baby Park track as a level 8 unlock.
Yeah.
You have then two Daisy Cruiser tracks. That's huge. That's perfect. And if you get them now, so now we also have a tour with a lot of new tracks. You have Yoshi Valley, Cooper Cape, Baby Park back. So it's really great that it just gets all these buffs right now, because it cannot get them later on. And it doesn't help if it gets some vanilla like one Luigi Mansion, something like that later on. So it's important that it gets these buffs now, and for me that's definitely a pro.
Yeah, I think I tend to agree. What I like to do is I like to almost, I don't know, like not put my money behind, but like look at an item and go, oh, that's got nice value, or that could be valuable in the future. Like PD Piranha, I'm not necessarily gonna not get PD Piranha and level him up, but at this stage I didn't pull for him on either account. So what I'm actually doing is I'm looking at his courses tour after tour, and then when he returns, now I know whether I need to pull for him or not. So I did the same thing with Rosalina Volendam on my free-to-play account and obtained her. And so it was actually kind of like a strategy of thinking like, okay, you know, if something's not good enough for me to grab straight away because of the the specific courses they've got, then still you can wait and you can watch and you can wait for the right moment for then when you need to obtain that item. And how I do that personally is just by analyzing these items every single tour myself. So I can figure out what items are actually gaining the value which is actually valuable for my account before I then put my resources behind obtaining them. And we've kind of got more of a luxury of doing that now, because these items are returning a lot quicker and to pipes. I don't know if you guys have noticed that, but we've got a lot more variety in pipes and packs nowadays. So Rosalina Volendam, people are like, what the heck, she's already coming back. Same with Luigi Vacation, he's been back like 4 times now. And I went really hard into that pipe to get him back in the first Singapore tour, and started investing into him. But I could have just as easily waited till he got the unique value when he was actually useful, which was a few tours down the track, and then invested. So I think the same applies to the tropical balloons. I think gliders, there's so much coverage already that while it's a good starting value, you might have so many overlaps that it still doesn't make sense. So yeah, I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, it's also really cute. So let's not forget about that, guys.
Okay, guys, we're going to wrap the episode up. And firstly, just want to say a massive thank you to you guys, Frenzy fans. Thank you so much for joining us. Thanks for being part of the episode and supporting the channel. I know that I probably wouldn't be here doing this if I hadn't I think, in fact, you guys were the first Discord server I actually downloaded Discord and joined, so awesome. Nice job on that. But just thank you guys for what you do in the community and for making the time and inconveniencing yourself to attend this at a time that might not be the ideal time based on our time zones. And same to you, Flo. Thank you, man. I know it's probably getting later in the evening there. Really appreciate your input on these episodes and all the hard work you do behind the scenes. And I'm really excited for Ticket Time, so thank you. We also want to say thank you to Larry98 for some of the images we used, DKR for the ACR spreadsheets, Rashid and Nadino for the ACR projections. We used some of the images from the ACR bot, so thank you to the guys over there who are part of that. Antalev, Bam, Gerbs, Reichenbacher, and MKD Ben, who we use their sheets to compute a lot of the data behind Ticket Time and behind some of the analysis and the tour hot lists that we do. On the right-hand side there, you'll see a whole bunch of recommendations of recommended resources, and I'll make sure to put a link up the top in the video and the info card for Frenzy Fans website, so you can go check out their channel as well. I thought in true Frenzy Fans style, seeing as we got you guys as guests, we could finish off with a thankful, grateful, made you happy, which is a tradition on your channel. So did anyone want to start?
I can start.
I can start if you want.
Oh.
Go ahead,
Flo.
sorry.
Yeah, you gotta flow.
Okay, I can start. So yeah, I just wanted to tell that so 2 days ago was my girlfriend's birthday, and we just had a really nice time with her brother and his girlfriend as well. So we were just having some pancakes in the morning, and then later on going to the cinema, playing some games. Yeah, we were talking about Ticket to Ride before, so we were playing Everdell right now, which was one of my presents to her. Which is a really cute game with some animals in the forest that are collecting some different resources and so on. So yeah, it was in general a really nice day, and I'm happy to have her. So that's what I'm thankful for.
I love it.
That's great.
Go,
All
Francie,
right, I'm
fangirl.
thankful for my cute little nephew. He just turned 2 like last month, and he's adorable. And we went out to dinner the other night, and then we went to like this cute little town. We were shopping around, and he and I had the best dance party in the middle of this store together. So I'm grateful for little moments like that with him because he's adorable. I'll take him over the tropical glider. So
And I think so I was under the impression you were going to take a different thankful, grateful, made me happy, but you didn't take that one.
Ooh.
So can I do 2? Because I kind of like them both.
Yeah.
So first off, I'm grateful for vapor compression cycles that make AC and refrigeration possible.
I was not going that way.
I wasn't expecting
Because
that.
it is so stinking freaking hot up here in Washington. So we're very fortunate to be able to stay at a cabin on a lake for a lot of this time while we're waiting for our house to being built.
Gorgeous views. It's amazing.
Absolutely beautiful. However, there's no AC there. And so when it gets to like 110 or like 43 degrees Celsius during the day,
Unless you want to stay in the lake like 24/7.
and then doesn't cool down to like, 85 at night, which is, I don't know, like 36-ish maybe C. It's just impossible to like work and like sleep and stuff.
Yeah.
And so we decided for this heat wave to come down to your sister's house, which is just an hour away, and mooch off of their AC. So
It's been wonderful.
we're grateful that,
Nice.
that we're able to take advantage of the resources. But the other thing that I was thinking of is last night we watched this movie on Netflix called The Gray Man. So good. It's got Ryan Gosling and Chris. Oh, I always forget it's Captain America. Who's that?
I forget his
Chris
name.
Evans.
It's not Pine.
No, it is Chris
Evans. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's not Hemsworth. It's not Pine.
It's not Pratt.
It's not Pratt.
Too good.
So Chris Evans, and
It was entertaining.
it was very entertaining. Like, it's amazing to me the cinematic quality of these movies that are coming on like the streaming services.
Don't watch it with your kids.
Oh yeah, no. It is PG-13 though, but just not your little ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're into like violence.
It was.
It's
It's like Jason Bourne. It's like a Jason Bourne type
yeah.
violence.
Probably not
movie.
appropriate for like a 3-year-old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, why are they doing that to him, Daddy?
No. But it was a very good story, and who doesn't like Ryan Gosling, right?
I like him a lot.
Some of us may or may not have man crushes on him. So
Yeah, speaking of movies, mine is I'm grateful that I got to introduce my 3-year-old to Frozen and Tangled. So we're getting into the Pixar movies now, finally, that he's kind of old enough to appreciate these things and kind of be able to stay focused on a movie for like an hour and 20 minutes, which is actually an amazing feat for a 3-year-old. And he would say to me, I watched the whole movie. And his favorite thing, of course, is the giant snowmen throwing like snowballs or something like that, because he's 3. So it was just I like Tangled, I like Frozen. So getting to watch that with your kid is it makes you happy because you're able to introduce them to things that you love.
I love it.
yeah, that's awesome.
Hey, well,
I
awesome,
can't wait
guys.
to start.
Sorry,
I can't wait to start watching Ninja Turtles with our nephew once he gets a little bit older. The cartoons.
Yeah. I've got like a whole programming set up for when each age. I can't wait till Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter, and it's just all lined up.
The 400 Marvel movies.
Awesome, guys. Well, hey, thank you so much. I really appreciate you coming on the channel, and it's just been such a fun episode, just chatting about our inventory and this game that we love so much. So thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Make sure you go check out Frenzy Fans channel. And Flo, thank you so much for joining as well.
Thanks so much for having us on.
Yeah,
We
this was a
were
blast.
super excited. Thanks so much for taking time going through our inventory and putting together all these slides, and it's been very enlightening. I absolutely love talking strat and anything Mario Kart. So this was fun being a guest on your guys' channel. We really were looking forward to it and appreciate the time. So
awesome.
Thanks for joining us. It was really nice.
Yeah, we'll let you guys do the Frenzy Fans sign off then, and we can finish there.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for joining us. And until the next episode, may the frenzies be forever in your favor.
See you guys later.